A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender-Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. It's a fact, ladies. The Kroger cut, by the ruler, assures you more meat, less waste. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef by the ruler removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. So you can see that means more meat for your money. You get top U.S. government grades of beef, meat that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. You get a better value in top-grade beef. For example, when you buy a Kroger-cut porterhouse steak, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes the long, stringy end and excess waste before the steak is weighed and priced. You don't pay steak price for stringy meat and excess waste. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, you receive more meat, less waste. But see for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store. Get Kroger cut beef and get more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. It's quiet in the Gibbs home today, for yesterday's excitement, the wedding of Nora Williams and Freddie Lang, is over. Nora and Freddie are away on a brief honeymoon. The children are sleeping. Jed is busy in the sunroom at his drafting board. And Penny is resting in the living room as her mother says,
You feel better today, don't you, Penny?
Yes, thanks, Mother. A great deal better. But I am ashamed about the way I acted at the wedding yesterday.
Oh, you don't need to be, darling. It's over in a minute. Everyone understood.
I know, but I promised myself there wouldn't be any tears.
Oh, you had your tears on the porch. No one even knew you'd cried.
Johnny did.
Oh, but you were cheerful when you and Johnny came in again.
Oh, thanks to Johnny. Sometimes I don't know how I'd manage without him.
Mm-hmm. He's always around when you need him, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. He seems to be.
He is.
Yes, he is. I guess I feel guilty about it. Oh, Mother, he shouldn't spend his life just standing around for the few times I need him. He's not being fair to himself.
Well, he's doing what he wants to do. He's keeping a promise I think he made you some time ago, that whenever he was needed... Oh, I think a car stopped in front of our house.
Yes, I think I heard it, too. You expecting anybody?
No. Can you see from the window who it is, dear?
Mother, it's Mrs. Carlton.
Mary's mother? Coming here?
Yes. Mrs. Carlton's coming up the walk. Mother, what'll I do? I can't see her.
Yes, you can.
Mother, she'll want to talk about Barry, and every time I think about him, I want to cry.
But you must see her, Penny. She's an old lady, and she doesn't come out except for something... Do you want to answer the door, should I?
Mother, you answer to her. I'm not in. Please.
No, darling. She doesn't see you now. She'll see you later, and putting it off won't help.
Mother, I wish you'd understand and let me see her some other time.
Nonsense.
Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Carlton.
Well, how do you do? I'm Grace Billings, Penny's mother.
Oh, yes. You're just as I imagined.
Oh.
It's so good to know you at last. Is Penny home?
Oh, yes, she is. Come on in, Mrs. Carlton.
Thank you. I know it's not proper to come unannounced this way.
That's quite all right.
It's not right at all. But I was just driving this afternoon and I decided something. And so I decided to take care of it right away.
Well, you're most welcome here at any time, Mrs. Carlton. Penny, Mrs. Carlton's here to see you.
Hello, Miss Carlton.
Penny, my child, you're more beautiful than ever.
I wonder if you'll excuse me, Miss Carlton.
Why, of course.
I'll be upstairs if you want me for anything, Penny. I think I better look in and see if Julie's really taking her nap.
You better look in on Valerie, too, Mother. She's getting a little hard to keep in the crib.
All right.
My, but you have a house full of children, haven't you, my dear?
Well, they're fun, Mrs. Carlton. You met Julie, and you know how precious she is. The baby's just as adorable.
I'm sure she is. How are you feeling, my dear?
I'm all right.
You're not all right, and you know it.
Have you heard from Barry?
No, and I don't expect to for a while. My son's a poor letter writer.
But if you should get a letter from him and he says anything I should know, you tell me, won't you?
Oh, you know I will. Well, I suppose you want to know why I'm here.
I'm sure it's for a reason.
It is. I want to know about your plans.
Don't have any.
Oh, but you must make plans, Penny. You haven't stopped living.
Sometimes I think I have.
That's quite a natural reaction. The shock of all this is bound to have had its ill effects. But the reaction gives you a false sense of values. You are going on living, and you will go on living. And a life without plans is no life at all.
Well, I'll go to work or something, Mrs. Carlton. I know I'm only down temporarily. After all, it's only been a few days, and there's been a lot of excitement here. A wedding.
Oh, yes, that nice young Freddie Lang and that pretty girl, Nora, I think her name is. Barry spoke of them often.
He was very nice to them.
But I've been very rude to them. You have to let me know what they need. I want them to have a wedding.
Oh, no, Mrs. Carlton, that isn't necessary.
I want them to have something just the same. So we'll say no more about it. And, Penny, there's something I must do for you.
For me?
I must do all I can for you, or rather all you let me. And that, I'm afraid, will never be enough to make amends for the heartache I've caused.
You aren't to blame for what happened, Mrs. Carlton.
I'm to blame for not telling you and Barry long ago that it would be unwise for him to marry. I waited until he had fallen in love and was about to take a wife, and that was waiting too long.
I understand why you waited. The fact that you didn't tell Barry before that he shouldn't marry wouldn't have had any bearing on what happened. We'd have fallen in love just the same.
I'm sure you would have. But it would not have been with the same high hopes and lavish dreams for the future. I could at least have spared you part of the heartache you now have.
I'm not the only one who has a heartache. I know how Barry must feel. Mrs. Carlton, if you wanted Barry to marry me as much as you said, I know that your heart must be pretty much like mine is.
I'm an old woman, Penny. I can withstand a broken heart. I don't have to bear it for very many more years. But you are young, my child. Your heart must be mended somehow, be whole again, so you may know happiness and contentment through the many years that lie ahead of you.
My heart will mend itself. Stopped aching a little bit already. I'm just depressed now. I guess the shock of losing Barry is slowly wearing off. And when it has completely, I'll pick up where I was before I knew Barry. Go on from there.
We can't go back in life, my child, only forward. There's never any going back to things as they were, because they won't seem the same to you. You're different now. You've had a new experience, and it's the experiences we have that make us what we are.
I'll go on, Mrs. Carlton, and I'll be all right.
Penny, my dear, I say you look well, and you do. Your beauty hides the ugly hurts inside you. I want to wash out those wounds, and quickly, and see you laughing and having a good time with new friends and new hopes. Soon, very soon.
That won't be very easy. I loved your son very much.
I'm going to make it easy. I want you to go on a long trip, to Europe maybe, or better still to the Far East or South America, where you'll see new things.
I can't. That's absolutely impossible.
But I'm going to make it possible. The trip is to be a gift from me, and everything that goes with it a gift. The clothes, food, the little added expenses. You will never once have to use a penny of your own money.
Please, Mrs. Carlton, don't think I'm ungrateful because I'm not, but I can't let you do it. Mrs. Carlton, I'll surprise you. I'll be all right again in half the time you think. Before very long, all the heartache will be gone.
Very well, then. If you won't, you won't. But I'm not defeated easily. I'll find some way to help you yet.
Oh, the offer's been help enough. However, there is one thing you could do.
Yes?
I don't think it'd be very smart for me to go on working with you.
I'm sure that goes without saying. But you'll see me from time to time. I'd hate to think that this is the end of our friendship.
Oh, no, Mrs. Carlton. Our kind of friendship never ends because... well, I guess because we have a love in common. But I think we have a hope in common, too. Faith that Barry will come home again and that things will One day be just as bad.
It's the doorbell, Penny. Are you home?
Yes, Mother, but I'm dressing.
All right.
Hello, Mrs. Billings.
Oh, Johnny, come in.
Thank you. How's Penny feeling?
A little better. She's dressing for dinner.
Oh? Well, she's not going out, is she?
No, I wish she were, Johnny, but she thought she might feel a little better if she changed her dress for dinner.
Oh, well, and she's coming around all right, isn't she?
Well, not fast enough, Johnny. Will you stay for dinner?
Oh, no, thanks, Miss Billings. I just dropped by because Jed said he wanted these sketches as soon as possible.
Oh, do stay, Johnny.
No, I don't think it'd be right so soon after... Well, so soon after what happened with Penny and Barry.
Well, I think it'd be exactly right. Penny talks when she's around you, and it's better for her to talk than just sit and think.
No. You sure it's good for me to be around?
I'm positive. She'll try to be gay for your sake, and maybe if she tries being gay... Oh, Johnny, maybe I should put it this way. It's something I've wanted to ask you all week.
Oh, sure. What?
Johnny, would you try to help Penny?
Why, you know I'll try. It's one of the reasons I'm around.
But is it asking you too much if I ask you to force her out of herself and get her to talk, get this terrible feeling of depression out of her system?
Mrs. Billings, you know there isn't anything in the world I wouldn't do for Penny. And I mean that. I mean that even knowing the awful truth.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I guess it's all right to say to you.
Of course.
You know how I feel about Penny, but... Well, maybe you don't know how much hope I've carried around with me that someday Penny and I might,
That someday still might come.
Oh, no. Well, that's what I wanted to say, Mrs. Billings. I know now there isn't any hope. Barry took my place in Penny's life, and in Penny's heart, I'll never be able to take his place.
Oh. Then it's wrong for me to ask you to devote any of your time to her, isn't it?
Oh, no. It's not wrong at all. It's right. And if necessary, I'll devote more than my time to her, Mrs. Billings. I'll devote my life.
Will Johnny Keith's devotion to Penny Gibbs fill the gap caused by the loss of Barry Carlton? Or has Penny suffered a tragedy so great that her broken life is beyond repair? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger Cut Beef, and Kroger Cut Beef means more meat for your money. Yes, the Kroger Cut by the ruler gives you more meat, less waste. Because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef by the ruler removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. In buying Kroger Cut rib roast, for example, you don't pay rib roast price for excess bone and waste. The chine bone is trimmed, the waist and short rib end removed, giving you top U.S. government grades of beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. And before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, waste, and stringy ends. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat for your money. But mind you can get Kroger Cut Beef only at your neighborhood Kroger store. So go there as soon as you can. Step up to the meat counter and ask the Kroger meat man for Kroger Cut Beef. You'll get delicious and juicy and tender beef. And you'll get more meat, less waste. That means you get more meat for your money at your Kroger store. Listen again tomorrow, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. You get a call from a man telling you that a woman has been badly beaten. Before you can get the name of the victim or any other information, the caller hangs up. Your job? Investigate. Here is Chesterfield's record with smokers, and important to you.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report of a doctor who has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers for a full year and 2 months, as a part of a program supervised by a responsible independent research laboratory. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality. Chesterfield. First choice of young America. And that's from a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Chesterfield. Regular or king size. They're much milder and best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, June 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the main jail, and it was 8:10 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Frank?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I want to talk to you.
I'm not going anyplace.
Oh. Well, I talked to Evans. I couldn't get any more out of him.
The arraignment's still set for the 14th, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, can't you settle down for a minute and stop that pacing up and down? What's the matter? Something on your mind?
On my leg.
Oh, something wrong with it?
Not a thing. Just walking.
Well, I wish you could manage to stand still for a minute. I'm getting a little bilious following you around the room.
You know how far it is from here to the business office?
What do you mean?
How far?
Oh, it's just across the hall. Is that what you mean? 25 feet?
No, you're wrong. It's 1/210th of a mile.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's 1/6 of a mile to the crime lab, including the stairs. 1/8 of a mile to Sal's Cafe. 4 trips to R&I equals 1/4 of a mile. Never knew that, did you?
No.
Our grand total tonight so far is over 6 miles, and we're only half through. What do you think of that, Joe?
Well, what's it all prove?
Well, this is a walking job we got.
Well, everybody knows that, don't they?
Yeah, but I'm the only one in the department who knows exactly how far we walk.
That's fine. Any calls come in while I was out?
No. Like to know how I do it?
What's that?
It's done with a pedometer. Measures miles. Just fastens on your leg, see? At the end of the day, you know exactly how far you walk.
Yeah.
Gonna measure everything, Joe. Keep track. Gonna know exactly how far everything is.
What for?
Somebody might want to know.
Who? I get it. Homicide, Friday. Yeah. Now, what's that address again? Yeah. Right. Well, we got one to roll on.
What do you got?
Ambulance follow-up, Westlake area.
Yeah.
Woman's been beaten. 8:14 p.m. We left the city hall and drove to the address we'd been given. 8674 Cambria Street was a large private home that had been divided into apartments. The house was quiet and there was no sign of any disturbance. There was a woman sitting in a glider on the front porch. We went up and talked to her.
Something I can do for you?
Police officers, ma'am. We got a call that there'd been some sort of trouble here.
What kind of trouble?
A woman had been beaten. Is that right?
It must be some kind of joke. Nothing like that here. You sure you got the right address?
The one we were given, ma'am. You got an apartment 104?
Yeah, the last one back on the left. Rockmans live there, Mr. and Mrs.
We'd like to see the apartment.
Go ahead. Anything happened around here, I'd know about it. I'm the landlady. Anything happened, I'd know about it. Go ahead, you won't find anything.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Here it is.
I'll get it.
Better try the door, huh?
Yeah. Nobody here.
Looks like they had a party, huh? I'll check the back. No? No one out there.
Coffee on the table's cold.
You find anything?
Where's that door go, ma'am?
Bedroom.
Joe, this girl on the bed.
No. See if I can find her pulse here. Yeah, she's still alive.
What is it? Something happened to Hazel?
Joe?
It's pretty bad. Both eyes black, bleeding. Is this Mrs. Rockman here?
Yeah, it's Hazel. What's wrong?
Where's her husband?
I don't know.
When'd you see him last?
Well, about 5 minutes ago.
Where was that?
On the front porch. He just walked out.
The ambulance crew arrived and immediately removed the victim to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for emergency treatment. We got in touch with Officer Ed Barrett of the hospital detail and asked him to try to get a statement from the victim if she regained consciousness. We locked the door to the Rockman apartment to preserve any physical evidence we might need, and then we went down and talked to the landlady, Mrs. Ruth Baker. We found her on the front porch. We asked her what she knew about what had happened.
I sure wish I could tell you more. How about Hazel? Is she going to be all right?
We don't know yet, Miss Baker. She's pretty badly beaten.
Well, what do you want from me?
Some questions we'd like to ask, ma'am.
About what? I've told you what I know.
Do you know where Mrs. Rockman's husband was going?
No, I don't. I don't much care either.
Did you say anything at all when he went out?
Not a word. Just walked out in a sort of daze, like a trance, sort of.
He didn't say anything at all to you?
I just got through telling you that he didn't.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. and Ms. Rockman fight often, would you know?
No, not any more than any married couple.
Miss Baker.
Yeah?
Wonder if you can give us a description of Mr. Rockman?
Description?
Yes, ma'am. Tell us what he looks like.
You figure he did that to Hazel, huh?
That's what we want to talk to him about.
What kind of description do you want?
About how tall is he?
About as tall as he is?
That'd be 5'10", huh?
If that's what you are.
How much would you say he weighed?
Wouldn't even make a guess. I don't notice things like that.
Yes, ma'am, but would you say he was medium build or heavy?
I'd say medium. Not too heavy, not too skinny. Medium.
What color's his hair?
Black.
How about his eyes?
Brown. Real dark brown.
He wear glasses?
No.
Was he clean shaven?
What do you mean?
Well, do you have a mustache?
No, he had one a while ago. He tried to grow one, but Hazel made him take it off. It never grew real well. Little scraggly thing.
What was he wearing when you saw him last?
Shirt and pants.
Could you tell us what color the shirt was?
No, and I can't tell you what color the pants were either. It's dark out here. I didn't pay much attention when he left. Just thought he didn't feel well. Sick from the party.
All right, Miss Baker. May I use your phone?
Sure, help yourself. It's in the living room, right inside the door to your left. You can't miss it.
All right, ma'am. Thanks. I'll call this in, Joe.
Right. You know, Miss Baker,
Yeah?
does Mr. Rockman drink much?
Why do you ask that?
Well, I wonder if there might be some bar in the neighborhood that he might have gone to, maybe?
No, he doesn't drink much at all. Once in a while, he and Hazel have a glass of wine before dinner. You know, sharpen the appetite. Just a glass of wine before dinner.
Mm-hmm. And you haven't any idea where he might have gone?
Not the slightest.
Does he have any relatives in the city?
I can't answer that.
You mean you don't know?
Must have some people someplace. Most of us do. But I'm not the kind of person who pries into the private lives of my tenants. They pay their rent, no love parties, and I don't bother them.
Now, about this party tonight.
Yeah, what about it?
Was there any trouble?
Not that I knew about.
You didn't hear anything? Any loud talking? Any arguments, maybe?
Nope, I wasn't at the party. Wasn't invited. Hazel gave it for her Tony friends. Going to play bridge. I wasn't there.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us who was there?
Never been able to get the hang of the game. Don't like cards. Chinese checkers, that's my game. Never could understand bridge, so I wasn't invited.
Well, can't you give us a list of the people who were there?
I suppose. Why do you need it?
We'd like to talk to them.
Well, I guess it'd be all right to give them to you. How's Hazel? You heard yet?
No, ma'am.
Sure a terrible thing. Not that maybe she didn't deserve it, but it's sure terrible.
Why do you say that, Miss Baker?
What do you mean, why do I say it? I say it because it's true. No other reason to say something.
Yes, ma'am, but what do you mean?
Just that it was bound to happen. Somebody was bound to haul off and slap her mouth shut one of these days, the way she talked.
Ma'am?
Accusing. Always accusing. Thought everybody in the world was after her. Always tell me that she knew about me, that I wasn't fooling anybody. The words she'd use. And they're supposed to be so Tony.
Well, did she have any enemies around her? Anyone to make her think that, would you know?
Well, she didn't have any right-out enemies. There were several people who didn't like her. They thought she was too snooty for them.
I'd call the office, Joe. They're putting out a broadcast.
Did you check him?
Yeah, nothing on him.
Mm-hmm.
Hope it's all right, ma'am. I left your number in case they want to reach us.
Sure, it's all right.
Can you give us the names of the people who were at the party tonight, ma'am?
Yeah, there was Lily Davis, the Harrises, and there was some fellow with Lily that I never saw before.
You know where we can get in touch with them, do you?
Well, the Harrises live up in 203, and Lily has an apartment 105 right across from the Rockmans. She ought to be able to tell you something. Don't know if it's going to be the truth, but she'll think of something to tell you.
Yes, ma'am. Is she a good friend of Mrs. Rockman's, do you know?
Oh, you bet. They're thick as thieves. Always having little lunches by themselves, talking secrets, buzzing around. Thieves. Myself, I never took to Lily. I always thought she was kind of wild. Divorcee, you know.
All right, Miss Baker, thank you very much. We'll be in 105 if there are any calls. Appreciate it if you'd let us know if Mr. Rockman comes in. Don't mention to him that we're here.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That was 105, you said?
Yeah.
Better talk to this Davis woman, huh?
Yeah, maybe she can tell us where Rockman is.
Yeah. 105, here it is.
Yes?
Miss Davis?
Yes. Is there something I can do for you?
Yes, ma'am. We're police officers.
What is it you want with me?
We'd like to talk to you, ma'am.
Oh, well, come in.
Thank you. I wonder if it'd be all right if we left the door open.
I suppose so. Any special reason?
Well, we'd like to keep an eye on the apartment across the hall.
Well, what's it about?
We understand that you know the Rockmans pretty well.
I suppose so. Why?
You have any idea where Mr. Rockman might be?
No, I don't. Isn't he across the hall?
No, ma'am, he isn't.
Well, I don't know where he is. Have you talked to Hazel?
No, ma'am.
Well, why don't you ask her? She should know.
We were wondering if you could help us out.
No, last I saw of him was when he left their place.
Uh-huh.
Say, I wonder if you'd mind if I went ahead with what I was doing.
Ma'am?
Probably seems silly to you, but it's a hobby of mine. Wire sculpture. Silly, but it gives me a chance to relax.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you go right ahead.
I don't think I got your names.
Well, my name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do,
How do you do,
Smith,
ma'am?
Mr. Friday? Well, what's all this about? Herman done something wrong?
No, it's just a routine investigation, Miss Davis.
Oh, mm-hmm.
We understand that you were at their place tonight, a party, huh?
Well, yes. Hazel was going to have a couple of tables of bridge.
Anything unusual happen while you were there?
No, nothing that you'd call really unusual.
Who was there, ma'am?
Oh, myself, the Harrises, they live upstairs, and Tom Reeves. Another couple were coming over after dinner, but they called and said they couldn't make it. It's just as well. None of us felt much like playing.
Why was that?
Well, Hazel wasn't feeling very well. She and Herman had a little argument. You know how it is, kind of uncomfortable. Excuse me. Hello? Yes. Oh, yes, Tom. No. Well, you've got to understand she wasn't feeling too well. Mm-hmm. Just one of those things. Yeah. What? No, I've got a meeting that I want to go to tomorrow night. Modern art, yes. At a place down on Melrose. Well, sure, if you want to. Mm-hmm. All right. You want to pick me up about 7? Right. Okay. See you then. Bye. Excuse me, that was Tom. He's a nice boy. I just met him tonight. The Rockmans set it up.
Mm-hmm. What was this argument that the Rockmans had? Do you know what that was about?
Well, it was nothing, just a little thing. Hazel hadn't been feeling well lately. It's awfully easy to set her off. I guess sometimes Herman doesn't realize it.
Yes, ma'am, but what caused it tonight?
Well, you see, Hazel's been thinking that there was somebody been following her, spying on her. She told Herman about it tonight. That made him a little angry. And, well, then at dinner we just sat down. Mrs. Harris said that she'd seen a picture of the dress that Hazel had on in the morning paper. Well, Hazel didn't understand. I guess she thought that Mrs. Harris was being nasty about it. And she got up and left the table, went into the bedroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Herman got up and went in after her. Came out and said that she wasn't feeling well. It kind of threw a damper on the evening, so when the other couple called and said that they wouldn't be able to make it, we all decided to call it quits.
Mm-hmm. Was there any reason for Mrs. Rockman to feel that there was somebody spying on her?
Oh, no, Mr. Friday. It was just one of those things. She'd go along fine, feel good, and then she'd wake up in the morning and start to think about things, and she'd get depressed. Well, when she's like that, there isn't anything that can lift her out of it. We used to talk about it. I'd try to help her. Same thing happened to me, I know. It's just one of those things.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe if they'd had children, it'd be different, but lately she hasn't been feeling well, and she and Herman haven't been getting along. He just didn't seem to understand. She'd get angry, and he'd work late, and the more he worked late and stayed away from home, the more she'd fret and get angry. It's just a vicious circle. Nothing anyone can do about it. It'll pass with time.
Mm-hmm. When Rockman went in to see his wife, did they argue?
Well, they had a few words, a little loud, nothing serious. Then he came out and said that everything was all right.
Ma'am, did Rockman ever get violent toward his wife, do you know?
What do you mean, violent?
He ever hit her?
No, I don't think so.
couple of times when I was over there, he looked like he might be thinking of it, but I never saw it. I think if he ever did hit her, Hazel would have told me. We were very close, as I said. I tried to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Just a few loud words, that's all I ever knew about. Anyway, after Herman came out of the bedroom, we all decided to leave. This fella, Tom, he wanted to go on, out someplace, but I was a little tired, and I'd just met him tonight, so I begged off and came home.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't you tell me what this is all about?
Miss Davis?
Hello, Mrs. Baker. Something you want?
I want to see the police. Mr. Smith, your office called, said you were to call this number right away. Here's the number they gave me. They said you'd know. I wrote it down.
Thank you, ma'am. Here, you want to call, Joe?
Yeah. What if I use your phone, Miss Davis?
Sure, help yourself.
Thank you.
Isn't this the most awful thing you've heard in all your life?
What?
Well, about Herman, what he did. Terrible. They ought to send him away for a long time, a good long time.
Dr. Hall, please.
What are you talking about?
All the ambulances, the police, never had a thing like this happen before. All the excitement and what Herman did, just terrible. That's all terrible.
Miss Baker, would you wait just a minute, please?
Well, somebody tell me what this is all
Hello,
about.
Doc Hall. This is Joe Friday. Yeah. Now, we're here now. She is. You're sure about that, right? Yeah, well. Hey, Doc. Right. No, we'll call him right now. Yes, it does. Right. Bye. Georgia Street.
Yeah?
Ms. Rockman died. It was something else.
What?
She wasn't beaten. She was shot to death.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes.
Chesterfield quality is highest. Here's the proof.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield. First with premium quality and best for you.
Try Chesterfield today. Regular or king size.
9:10 p.m. We called the crime lab, and Ray Pinker and a crew were sent out to check the physical evidence at the scene. We contacted Ed Barrett at the hospital, but he said the woman had not regained consciousness. Frank and I went upstairs to talk with Mr. and Mrs. Harris. They gave us substantially the same story we'd gotten from Lily Davis. They agreed that when Rockman went into the bedroom to see his wife, they'd heard loud voices but nothing else. They stated positively that as far as they knew, there'd been no shot fired while they were in the Rockman apartment. 9:17 p.m. We checked with the other people in the apartment building. None of them could report having heard a shot. From them, we got the same story of Mrs. Rockman's actions. Some of the neighbors said that they didn't get along with her. Others seemed to understand her feelings. 9:22 p.m. We checked back with Ray Pinker and the crew from the crime lab.
We didn't spend a lot of time here, Ray. The husband looked good for it. We were trying to round him up.
Shooting was a real surprise, huh? Looked like a beating to us. We couldn't tell. The boys from Georgia Street got her out of here right away.
Yeah.
Did you come up with anything, Ray?
Yeah, a couple things. How you fellas got it figured?
Well, talking to the neighbors, looks like the husband does.
Talked to him?
No, he walked right out after it happened. Got out a broadcast on him. Nothing's turned up yet, though.
Mm-hmm.
How's it look to you, Ray?
Well, I'm not sure I can go along with you guys on the husband.
Yeah?
I talked with Doc Hall. We aren't going to be able to know for sure till they post the body. Woman was slapped around, we know that.
Yeah, we saw her. It looked pretty brutal to us.
You mean the black eyes?
Yeah.
What Doc Hall says, that didn't come from beating. He says the bullet did it.
Was he pretty sure about it?
Looks like it. Autopsy will prove it.
Where'd you find the gun?
Under the bed. Over here, right side.
Mm-hmm.
Indentation on the floor here. Evidently fell from her hand, bounced back under the bed.
Any prints on it?
Lifted 3 clean ones.
You been able to make them?
Lifted some from the dressing table over there. Perfume bottles, mirror. Looks like they might belong to the dead woman. Check them for sure later.
And you figure maybe she did herself then, huh?
Well, it's beginning to shape up.
Well, how about the shot, Ray? Nobody we've talked to heard it.
Here's the explanation for that. This pillow here. See the bullet hole here? Burn?
Yeah.
Doc Hall says she was shot in the back of the right ear. She must have held the gun in the pillow. That muffled the sound. What noise there was wouldn't be heard very far.
Well, how can you be sure it was suicide, Ray?
Just an idea now. We roll the dead woman's prints, run a blotter test on her, see if she fired the gun. Check for nitrate, we'll know for sure.
Well, how long will that take?
I'll be finished in an hour or so. I'll let you know then. From where I sit, though, it looks like she did it herself.
Yeah, I still don't understand about the black eyes, though.
Well, I get it. The bullet entered just behind the right ear. Passed behind the eyes. I've seen it a couple of times before.
Yeah, but Doc Hall said that she'd been slapped a couple of times, Ray.
Yeah. Said he found a couple of bruises on her cheeks. Not enough to do any damage, though. Sure not enough to kill her.
Mr. Friday? Mr. Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you come right over to my place? Herman's on the phone.
What's that?
Mr. Rockman, he called to find out how Hazel was.
All right.
Phone's right there.
Thank you. Hello? 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 He's not there now. What'd he say?
Well, he asked me if I knew how Hazel was. I told him that she was dead, and then I asked him where he was.
Did he tell you?
No. He just said for me to tell people that he was sorry he did it, for me to tell them that he didn't mean it.
Mm-hmm.
He said he didn't mean to kill Hazel.
Well, the way it looks, he didn't do it.
Then you better find him right away.
Yeah?
He thinks he did, and he's going to kill himself.
We talked to the landlady, Ruth Baker, but she was unable to tell us where Herman Rockman was employed. Lily Davis told us that he was a car salesman employed at a lot in the south end of town. We asked Miss Davis to stay by our phone in the event that Rockman called back and to let us know immediately if he did. We found an address book in the desk in the living room of the apartment, and we began to call Rockman's friends and relatives. None of them had seen him or could tell us where he worked. 9:45 p.m. It had been 20 minutes since the husband of the dead woman had called and said that he was going to kill himself. At 9:46 p.m., we contacted a brother-in-law of the dead woman, and he told us that as far as he knew, Rockman had been employed by the Bateman Auto Agency in Gardena. We got the number from information, and I put in the call. Hello, is this the Bateman Auto Agency? Well, this is Sergeant Joe Friday, Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, sir. Do you have a Herman Rockman working for you? Yes, sir, that's right. R-O-C-K-M... Uh-huh. I see. When was that? Yeah. You any idea where he's working now? Uh-huh. Yeah, sure, I understand. Yeah, well, have you got the number? Fine, yeah. Would you know if they're open this time of night? I see. Okay, all right, sure, I'll hold on. How about it? Says Rockman did work for him. He hasn't seen him in a couple... Yes, sir. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's 03. Right? Yes, sir. Thanks very much. Says he's heard Rockman's working for a company out on Washington Boulevard now. Left him a couple of weeks ago. Hello. Do you have a Herman Rockman working there? Hello. Hello. Somebody answered. As soon as I asked about Rockman, he hung up. Think it was him? There's no way of telling. We better check on it quick.
You got the address?
Yeah, it ought to take us about 5 minutes to get there.
Let's go. We still got a chance.
9:50 p.m. We left the apartment and we drove out Westlake Avenue and turned down to Washington Boulevard. We traveled Code 3, but because of the possibility of alarming Rockman, we turned off the sirens 6 blocks from the address of the used car lot. 9:54 p.m. We got to the place. The lot was dark. At the rear and back of a line of cars, we could see a small shack. I hope he's here.
Yeah. There's no lights on.
The door's locked.
Let's try the side. There's a window around there.
Right.
Can you see anything?
No, the window's dirty. Got your flashlight?
Yeah, here you go.
Give me it.
How about it?
He's in there. Looks like he's out. Come on.
Let's hit it. Right. Full of gas. Kill your flashlight.
Right. I'll get him out of here. You want to get that heater?
Right. The window's stuck.
Regan.
How about it?
He's still alive. Fresh air should bring him around.
Yeah.
Rockman. Rockman. Come on, Rockman. You're all right. Sit up.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you stop me?
No reason for you to kill yourself.
I got a reason. I killed Hazel. I didn't mean to. I loved her more than anything. I didn't mean it. I didn't know I hit her that hard.
All right, settle down. Settle down. You didn't kill her, Rockman.
Nobody asked you to come down here. I called you to take care of her. I knew it was too late. I killed her. She's dead and it's my fault. Why'd you come here? Why'd you stop me?
All right, now take it easy, will you, Rockman? Straighten yourself out here. You didn't kill your wife, Rockman. You understand?
What?
We don't think you killed her. We think she did it herself.
Huh? Oh. Well, she wasn't well. She was sick. She didn't know what she was doing. She did the wrong thing, didn't she? Her way wasn't right. I loved her, very much.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Doesn't really make any difference. You stop me. No difference.
Sir?
Doesn't make any difference that you stop me. I loved her. No difference at all.
How's that?
I died with her.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 15th, an inquest was held in the coroner's office in and for the county of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here's our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, next Sunday, June 21st, is Father's Day. Your neighborhood dealer has the special Chesterfield Father's Day carton on sale right now. So remember the guy who never forgets you. Don't give him just any cigarette. Give him premium quality Chesterfields, regular or king size. They're best for him.
At the coroner's inquest, it was decided that the wound that killed Hazel Eileen Rockman was self-inflicted. The death was listed as a suicide. Her husband, Herman George Rockman, was not held. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, June Whitley, Lillian Byatt. Script by John Robinson, Ben Alexander. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork, king size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
The world he goes around in. It's about the big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The whiskey matches the color of your money. It's a fairly quiet crib, never any real serious trouble. The competing torpedoes in town regard it as a sort of a neutral zone, a place to meet and maybe talk things over before going to the gun. the Switzerland of Kansas City. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who has only two things in his life, dollars and cents. We start grinding every night at about 10, and we play till the cash register tape gives out. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like and pays off with a smile. Sometimes we even manage to get a few bucks. Last night we were dragging through the lull hour of the first set when the distinguished old guy came in. I'd seen him in the place many times before, always with the Dutchman and 2 or 3 of the Dutchman's guns. He'd sit at their table, letting their whispers float around his gray hair, never taking part, just sit quiet, gaining slowly on the open bottle in front of him, staring at a point that probably didn't exist. This was the first time I'd seen him without the Dutchman. He started to sit at the usual place, hesitated, looked around the half-filled room, took the small table in the corner near the bar. He smiled up at me as he poured his first drink. There was nobody behind it. We went into the wind-up.
Man, we sure drag heel tonight. What's up next, Pete?
Nothing. My lip's raw. Let's get off for a while.
You're burning that lip at both ends, Petey. Slow down.
You want a beer at the bar, Red?
No, thanks, Petey. I'll catch me a hunk of fresh air in the alley.
All right. On your way out, throw some nickels in the pianola, will you?
Right. See you later.
Yeah?
Forgive me, I spoke quite on impulse. I find myself the sudden victim of an overwhelming desire for companionship.
Yeah. I see you're alone tonight.
I'm alone every night. Please sit down, if only for a minute.
All right.
Thank you. What will you drink?
A little of that ginger ale will do fine. You expecting your friends?
That's the one thing I can count on tonight, the arrival of my friends. I should like to compliment you, Mr. Kelly.
On what?
Your music. I must confess I don't really understand it, but I do understand and recognize one thing, faith. You play your cornet as though you believe in it.
Thanks.
That is a priceless thing, Mr. Kelly. Faith and the belief in something. Never lose it, sir. Because when you do, you're lost yourself.
Yeah. Well,
No, please. Just sit another small minute.
All right.
I lied to you, Mr. Kelly. I told you I wanted companionship. No. What I really want is an audience. There are so many things I want to say and so little time left in which to say.
Sounds like you're about to get married. Have another drink, huh?
You think I'm drunk, don't you? Well, you're right, I am. But not on whiskey.
Yeah. You're scared, aren't you? Is that it?
Yeah. Feel my heart. Expending enough energy to power a modest side dam.
What are you afraid of?
All evening I've been asking myself that same question. What am I afraid of? Surely it can't be the loss of life. And yet...
You sick?
With a disease for which neither man nor magician has yet been able to effect a cure. The wrath of a killer.
You're a target. Is that it?
I, as you so graphically put it, am a target.
The Dutchman?
The Dutchman.
Look, I don't make this. Right now you should be 2 yards the other side of Baffin Bay.
Streets are lined with the Dutchman's gun.
But you gotta make a pass at it. You can't just say, okay, here's my head with a 50-cent cigar in it. Don't you want to live?
I thought not. My adrenals refuse to concur.
Look, isn't there somebody to help get you out of town? A friend?
I have no friend, except the Dutchman.
The law? Yeah. Now, look, I gotta get back up there. Take this key. Hotel George, around the corner. Go up to my room. There's no reason for him to look for you up there. We'll think of something.
Do you think so? Do you really think so?
Now, look, we're gonna try. If we can't, we'll need 2 50-cent cigars. Now, go on.
P?
Yeah, Red.
What's the matter with the senator?
Nothing 1,000 miles won't cure. All right. Let's do goose pimples. All right, everybody ready? don't know if I want to make it or not. Red, take over. I'm going to duck out for a while.
What's wrong, Petey?
My lip. It's starting to limp.
Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Mr. Kelly? Which Mr. Kelly?
How many Mr. Kellys you got in this crib?
Never mind, Jamie. I'm ready.
You asked the punk nice, is he, Mr. Kelly, so he gives you with a snotty which Mr. Kelly.
All right, Jamie. Please forgive Jamie. He hasn't had much sleep lately. Yeah, well, you wake him up and tell him there's another Kelly. Bob Kelly works downstairs in the plant. Maybe he's the boy you want.
No, we're looking for Pete Kelly.
Yeah?
Yes, Pete Kelly.
Oh, not Bob Kelly.
Not Bob Kelly, Pete Kelly.
Yeah. Well, I'm Pete Kelly.
I'm Pete Kelly.
We'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure.
Outside?
Outside?
Just in the alley. Private.
Yeah, well, I'd like to oblige you, but you see, friend, I got a job to do here.
Outside.
All right, Jamie. Mr. Kelly understands.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Red.
Yeah. Smoke, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. You like my brand?
Your brand?
Gold Tip. You like it?
Yeah, sure. I never smoked anything else.
There was an elderly gentleman inside this evening. He also smoked some. Did you smoke one of his?
Elderly gentleman?
Yes, about 55, my height, gray hair, blue eyes. He sat at your table. He had a nice drink with him. You smoked a cigarette at his.
Sorry, I haven't seen anybody all night.
All right, Terry, let's get to it. Stop with the circle talk.
Easy.
We got the rumble you was talking to.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, you... All right. Go on me.
That's enough.
Yeah, all right. Now, you listen, Junior. The next time you push your hands on me, you walk away without them.
You deserve that, Jamie. You have to learn when to and when not to. Jamie's young, Mr. Kelly. He thinks he has to make his reputation in one night.
Can he be friendly? Can he be nice? Can he be honest? Why can't he tell us the truth and let us go about our business?
That's fair enough. Isn't that fair enough, Mr. Kelly? Isn't Jamie right this time?
Yeah, sure.
Seems to me he's being fair. Seems to me he's right this time.
I'm always fair. I just asked for cooperation.
That's it. That's all. That's all we ask. Just cooperation. And, mister, you're going to cooperate. I'm a surplus, mister. This gun's been to France and back.
What do you want?
Small hunk of truth. You sat and talked to this gentleman?
You see? He ain't going to cooperate.
Yeah, I talked to him.
What about?
This and that.
What's this and what's that?
Music.
What else?
Horses.
What else?
Women.
What else?
That's all.
You're lying.
Terry says you're lying. He knows it's his business and all.
Music, yes. Horses and women, no, not him. You're lying.
He was drunk.
How drunk?
Drunk enough to talk about horses and women?
What's his name?
He didn't say.
Where's he now?
I don't know.
You saw him go?
I left him at the table.
All right.
That's it, Terry?
For now. Mr. Kelly says he doesn't know where he is. Maybe he's telling the truth.
You got it all.
But if you're lying, Jamie's going to come back and see you alone.
Well, I didn't need Einstein to figure it out for me. They were a couple of the Dutchman's guns. Assignment, rub out of one old party. Method, burn down anybody in the way. And from here on in, they'd cuddle closer to me than a baby kangaroo to its mother. Well, I had to get that old party out of my room fast. I told Red to keep the boys working, and I went on the prowl for Barney Ricketts. Barney's an ex-bootlegger. He went broke in 1922. Nobody's been able to figure out how a bootlegger could go broke in 1922, and Barney refuses to tell the secret of his failure. He did it the hard way, and he isn't going to make it easy for anybody else. He wasn't at Sour Sammy's joint. He hadn't shown at Papa Pastor's, and I was starting to worry when I caught up with him at Joe Donegan's over on 12th Street. As usual, he was boiled and loud.
Ah, Pete Kelly, the Kansas City Gabriel.
Listen, Barney, I need a favor.
Without evasion, Petey, I tell you right out that your arrival is ill-timed.
A major league favor.
I was just about to pour a potion, and now I'm forced to ask you to share it with me.
No, Barney, look, there's no time.
That's your trouble, Petey. No true understanding of the meaning of time. Do you know what time in the life of one man really is? I mean, the nature of it and its function.
Yeah, I know all about it. Now, listen, Barney,
Of course you don't, and it isn't many men who will so frankly confess their ignorance. That's what I admire most about you, Petey, your honesty in admitting to your abundant ignorance.
All right, Barney.
No, you mustn't be disheartened. The very fact that you know that you don't know is a hopeful sign. It means that you are ready to learn, and I will be your guide, counselor, and teacher.
Yeah.
Now then, take time.
All right.
And to properly understand the true nature of time, you must take time to understand it. Regard time as a valise. To each man at birth, such a valise is given, some large, some small, according to his destiny. That is the one thing which he cannot really choose, the size of the valise, which we call time.
You all through now?
Yes, what are we going to put into your valise this time?
Maybe a hunk of hope for a guy who needs it.
What's his problem?
He was sitting in 417. I talked to him.
A mobster?
No, educated, cultured, gentle.
I see. A dangerous man.
No, he was lost, Barney. Lost and frightened. The kind of fright that freezes you when you're on the other side of a gun.
I see. Who fingered him?
The Dutchman.
The Dutchman?
That's right.
Tell me, is he about 55, gray hair, blue eyes?
That's right.
And you don't know who he is?
No, he didn't say.
Well, Peter, you're right and you're wrong. He's educated, cultured, gentle. But you're wrong about helping him. Nothing you or anyone else can do can stretch his valise.
Why not?
Because the Dutchman says no, that's all.
Well, who is he?
Dr. Jonathan Budd, an excellent surgeon and general practitioner.
But what's he got to do with the Dutchman?
For the last 2 years, he's been under exclusive contract to the Dutchman, sort of company medic for the Dutchman's torpedoes. On call 24 hours a day. Remove an appendix or a bullet as the circumstances may require.
I don't make it, Barney. A man like that. Why would the Dutchman want to send him over?
I don't know, Petey, and I don't want to know. Go back to Lupo's, pick up your horn, and forget all about Dr. Budd.
I can't do it.
Heed me, Petey. The Dutchman says drop dead, he'll drop dead. Don't be near him when he falls. Don't get into this, Petey.
I'm already in, Barney. I sent him up to my room.
You didn't?
He's there now, waiting for me.
Get him out of there.
I had to help him, Barney. You can't just stand by and send him into the street to be cut down. A man has to have somebody to worry about him, somebody to help him.
Get him out of there.
I can't.
Why not?
I'm being watched.
By the gun?
Yeah.
You sure?
They got the buzz I was sitting with him. They're keeping a string on me.
Petey, you fool. How long do you think it'll be before they get into your room?
That's why I came to you, Barney.
No, Pete, not this time. Not where the Dutchman...
Look, they're on my back, Barney. I'll draw the guns off. Back to Lupo's. You get him out, Barney. You can do it.
And what do I do with him once I got him? Ask him what he'll charge to cut you out of my life?
Take him to the other side of the river, over to Fat Annie's. Tell Maggie Jackson. She can fold him into the shed out back. He'll be safe there.
Fine. He can make a new life for himself in Fat Annie's shed.
I'll think of something. I'll shake the guns after I get back to 417. And I'll think of something.
You do that, Petey, because if you don't, you'll be dragging up full valise before morning.
Well, I scuttled back through the streets, back to 417 Cherry. The guns were right behind me. My valise was getting fuller and heavier by the minute, and I knew I'd added a few pounds to Barney's. But that's the way it is. The guy drifts into your life, holds out a finger for help, and you take hold, and you're near to drifting out of it with him. But what can you do? You gotta take hold, or you don't sleep so good anymore. Well, Lupo glared at me with his "what am I paying you for" glare as I ducked into the joint. I started for the bandstand, and I didn't get past the bar.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah?
I've been waiting for you.
Yeah?
Could I talk to you?
Oh, go ahead, I'm listening.
Someplace alone?
What about?
It's about my name's Mary Budd.
Oh, come on, behind the bandstand.
Thank you.
Let's go, Petey. Lupo's just docked us another thing.
I'll be right with you, Red.
Yeah.
All right.
I was told you saw
Saw who?
my father,
Lots of fathers come in here. Who's yours?
Dr. Budd. Dr. Jonathan Budd.
You drive a car?
Yes.
Your license with you?
Yes.
Let me see it. Thanks. All right. Now pay attention. Your father's in trouble. The big trouble.
Why? What's happened?
The Dutchman took a dislike to him.
Who's the Dutchman?
You don't know?
My father never told me anything.
Well, you're a big girl now. The Dutchman's a man with a gun. He's pointing it at your father. All right, now hold on. Maybe we can...
Why would anybody want to kill my father?
I don't know.
He's never hurt anybody in his life. Why would this man...
Look, lady, I got no answers for
Maybe
you.
if we could find out why... Maybe we could... Are you sure you have no idea?
All I know is the Dutchman said drop dead. There's no court of appeals for that.
Yes. I understand now.
But we still got a chance. It's skinny, but it's there.
Where's my father now?
He's being taken across the river. Fat Annie's place. Boulder Road. Is your car out front?
No, I left it downtown.
Good. Go get it. Make sure you're not tailed. Go to Fat Annie's. See Maggie Jackson. I'll try to shake the Dutchman's guns after the next number. But if I can't get over to Fat Annie's, you collect your father out of that shed and back. Hit the highway north on the Kansas side. Now, you got it?
I'll never forget you for this, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, sure. let's settle down. Settle down, huh? What's up?
Newlyweds in from St. Joe. Been asking for a cornet solo for an hour.
All right, what do you think?
Well, how about Pigeon-Toed Jode?
Oh, my lip and you asked for that? All right.
All right, Pigeon-Toed Jode. You got it?
All right. I'll give you the pickup. That's all for me tonight, Red.
Let me see that.
Huh?
Yeah, you ain't fooling. Your lip's bleeding.
We'll do the next set without me, huh?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's sure making the deducts tonight.
Where's the Erskine Park, Red?
Around on 10th Street. You better put the top up. Looks like rain.
Yeah, all right.
How long you gonna be gone?
Huh?
I said, how long you gonna be gone?
Depends on how much room is left in my valise. I left the stand and headed for the men's room just like nothing was happening. I bolted the door behind me, crawled out through the small window, dropped into the alley, and lit out for 10th Street over fences and through backyards. Red's Erskine was right where it ought to be. I slammed over to 12th, rattled across the bridge, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Halfway there, it started to rain. Inside Fat Annie's, business was slow. There was nobody there. Maggie Jackson was making for her piano when I got inside.
Hi, Pete. I'm glad you got here. We got a tenant we shut out back.
Yeah?
Yeah, with a short-term lease. Just a minute, Pete. All right, Ray. I ain't going nowhere, ain't seeing no one, no how. 'Cause love and I are parting, starting now. I'm on good behavior, so honey savior, hello. In answer to your passes, the last there's no. I've been somewhere, seeing someone most every day of my sad life. I'm gonna trade in my mad life for something slow and safe, and so I ain't going nowhere, ain't gonna wrinkle my brow, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. That was nice, Ray.
place is really dead tonight.
Yeah, business is bad all over. Look, Maggie, how about the guy in the shed? Is he all right?
He ain't bleeding none yet.
Where's Barney?
He just dropped the package like it was hot chitlins and dusted.
The girl get here yet?
What girl's that?
The tenant's daughter.
No girl showed yet, Pete.
Well, the minute she shows, Maggie, send her outside, will you?
You going to the shed, Pete?
Yeah.
Best to go through the kitchen, straight out the back.
Sure. Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck.
Doc, it's Kelly. Pete Kelly, Doc.
Come in.
You all right, Doc?
Yes. The roof leaks and I've run out of cigarettes.
Sure. Here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give you a light.
That's good.
Yeah, now look, I think we're home safe. I'm getting you out of here.
Tell me, why do you bother?
What?
I said, why do you bother?
Look, Doc, don't confuse me.
You're an anachronism, Mr. Kelly. A moral man in the immoral jungle.
Now, look, I talked to your daughter. She'll be here soon.
You talked to my daughter?
Yeah, that's right. She's coming to pick you up.
Small girl, red hair, blue eyes?
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly, I have no daughter.
You don't?
You talked to the Dutchman Smile.
Yeah, but the license, her driving license. She showed me her driving license.
Sure she did.
I believed her.
Yes, an excellent actress. And you told her where I am. Did she ask you anything else? What you might know about the Dutchman and me?
Well, she asked. I knew nothing.
You're sure? You're sure you told her you know absolutely nothing?
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're safe. You'll be all right. They'll forgive you for trying to help me. You finally did tell them where to find me, and for that, they forgive you.
All right, come on. Now, let's get out of here. Let's get going.
No, Mr. Kelly. You'd better go quickly.
Oh, I got a car. We'll make a run for it.
No.
But they'll be here any minute.
And I'll be waiting for it. No use to run anymore.
Yeah.
In some strange way, I've begun to realize that I'll welcome their arrival. But I don't want to escape. You see, it's impossible for a man to escape from himself. I am nothing more than the works I have done. It is those works which decide the ultimate fate of a man. Mine, and rightly so, are about to kill me. No, we cannot escape from what we have made of ourselves.
Yeah, but look, you can start all over again. There have been others like this before. They ran, took the chance and ran.
Strange. Things taught me in my youth. Things unremembered for years. My freshman days at school, and the words of Socrates when Crito urged him to delay the drinking of the hemlock as others before him had delayed. Yes, Crito, and they of whom you speak are right in so acting, for they think that they will be gainers by the delay. But I am right in not following their example, for I do not think that I should gain anything by drinking the poison a little later. I should only be ridiculous in my own eyes for sparing and saving a life which is already forfeit. Please, then, to do as I say, and not to refuse me. And so, I ask you, Mr. Kelly, don't refuse me. Go now, please, for your sake. I'm all right.
You're not all right. They're going to kill you. Don't you understand that?
I understand.
Yeah. Sure you do. There's nothing more I can do?
Nothing. Except perhaps a cigarette.
Sure. Take the pack.
No. Two will do.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Kelly.
Goodbye, Doc.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Please leave the door open.
Yeah.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph record.
The proceeding is transcribed. Now join the great Gildersleeve on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a missing persons detail. You get a call that a man is missing. He failed to return from his work the day before. There are no leads to his whereabouts. Your job? Find him. Here is Chesterfield's record with smokers, and important to you.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report of a doctor who has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers for a full year and 2 months as a part of a program supervised by a responsible independent research laboratory. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality. Chesterfield. First choice of young America. And that's from a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're much milder and best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 16th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of Homicide Division, missing persons detail. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office, and it was 11:59 p.m. when I got to room 24. Missing persons.
What was his mental condition when you last saw him, Mr. Ford? Where'd you last see him? Was he driving his car? Mm-hmm. And what time was that? Yes, ma'am, but what was the exact time? I see. And your address? On the phone, please. Now, can you think of anything you forgot to tell me? Right. Right. Oh, you gave me that before. Mm-hmm. Now, was your husband a drinking man, ma'am? I see. Okay, Miss Borg, we'll make a check. Call you back. Yes, ma'am, we'll do our best, thanks. Anything? Man by the name of Borg missing. I'm sure glad my wife doesn't call for help every time I miss a meal. Trouble with most guys is they let a woman keep tabs on them, check on everything they do.
Let me see that 9-7, will you?
Yeah, there you go. It's everything his wife gave me.
Mm-hmm. When you get the jails and records, I'll check Georgia Street County Hospital in the morgue. It looked like a routine investigation. Lots of things can keep a man from getting home. A few drinks, sick friend, unexpected business conference, a flat tire on an isolated road, maybe just boredom. But there are other things that can keep a man from getting home. It had to be checked out. Henry Borg, 51, male, white American, address 1571 East Berendo Street, had failed to return home at the usual time on Monday. His wife called one of the men he worked with and found that he hadn't been at work all day that day. He still hadn't come home the next afternoon. She called us. I checked the Gaga file to see if he was one of our regular customers, mental case or alcoholic. He wasn't. Frank and I checked the jails, the hospitals, and the morgue. They had no record of him there. No John Does fitting his description. And Borg had no criminal record. We could assume that he was at least alive. Frank called Mrs. Borg back, told her not to worry, and asked her to call us immediately if she heard from her husband. Wednesday, 3:10 p.m., still no word of Henry Borg. The day watch had made another check of the jails, the hospitals, and the morgue. Mrs. Borg called 3 times. The day watch officer's notes described her as very upset. I called her back and asked her to come in the next day to file a missing persons report. I asked her also to bring in the best picture she had of her husband. Thursday, 2:40 p.m. Mrs. Borg was waiting with Frank when I got to work. She'd already filled out the Form 316. She was holding an aging Pekingese dog in her arms.
Joe, this is Mrs. Borg.
How are you, ma'am?
My partner, Joe Friday, ma'am.
Hello, Officer Friday. I talked to Mr. Smith and filled out the paper. Here's that picture you wanted.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, ma'am.
It's a good likeness.
Mm-hmm. Now, Miss Borg, I see here that you haven't put anything down under personal habits for your husband.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, does your husband drink at all, ma'am?
Henry? No. He takes a glass of beer with his supper when he comes home, but he's not what a person would call a drinking person.
Gamble?
Gamble?
Yes, ma'am. Cards, dice, horses?
Oh, I should say not. He never does nothing like that.
You've never known him to gamble at all, then?
Henry? I should say not.
Now, Miss Borg, you say here that your husband has no relatives.
Oh, only brother Ed, older brother, but I didn't put him down. We don't know where he lives. Haven't heard a word about him 9-10 years.
Mm-hmm. What about your family? Your husband friendly with your family?
My family hasn't spoke to me since the day I married Henry Borg.
Mrs. Borg, I see you only have one friend listed, a Hal Bishop. That's the man your husband rode to work with, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you know Mr. Bishop's address?
No, I don't.
Did your husband ride to work with Bishop every day? You say he left his car at home Monday. Did he ever drive it to work?
Well, he usually drove our car, but then he'd ride with Mr. Bishop pretty often, too. I didn't think anything about it. It didn't seem like anything.
Well, did your husband spend much time with this Bishop?
No, just work. Henry used to like to spend his free time with me.
All right, now, ma'am, please don't get upset here. Did your husband have any financial problems, debts that were worrying him?
Financial difficulties, like bills and things? No, Henry always took care of it.
Do you think there might have been anything you didn't know about that was worrying him?
Officer, if Henry was worried about anything, I'd have known it. He'd have told me for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about your home? Do you own it?
What do you mean?
Was there a mortgage on it, I mean?
Yes.
Do you have the pink slip on your car?
No.
Well, is it possible that your husband was behind in the payments?
No, he would have told me.
Well, did he owe money down where he worked?
No, not that I know of.
His job, maybe. Was he worried about that?
Mr. Snyder, that's his boss. Well, he always said Henry would have a job as long as he was in the contracting business. Henry makes good wages.
Mm-hmm. Now, you say here his mental condition was good. Has it ever been poor? You ever know your husband to black out?
How do you mean, black out?
Well, has he ever suffered from lapse of memory? Is there any history of epilepsy in his family?
History of epilepsy? Oh, no, not Henry. Why, he's a healthy man. He hasn't had a sick day.
Now, Miss Borg, have you and your husband been getting along lately?
What do you mean by a thing like that, officer? You think Henry and I had a fight, and that's why he left. Is that what you think?
No, ma'am. We don't think anything here, but these are the things we have to check out.
Well, it's a waste of time. Don't you think I'd have already told you that? If Henry and I'd had a fight, I'd have told you first off. It's the first thing I'd have said.
Yes, ma'am.
Something's happened to my husband, officer. I just know it. Something's happened to him.
Did you and your husband go out together much, ma'am?
Well, one night last month we went to the Coconut Grove, there in the Ambassador Hotel, and we used to go to the movies pretty regular.
Was he in the habit of leaving the house at night alone?
No, just when he went out with Francine.
Francine?
Well, yes, our Pekingese here.
3:55 p.m., Thursday, June 18th. Began to look as if Henry Borg was in trouble. From what we'd been told, he wasn't a man who had just suddenly decided to leave home. We had to find out if the facts we'd been given were accurate. Thursday, 4:10 p.m. We contacted Borg's friend, Hal Bishop, just as he was leaving the construction job where they both worked. He said he hadn't gone by Borg's house to pick him up Monday because Borg hadn't asked him to. The way they worked it, Borg always told him the day before if he wanted to ride. At first, Bishop said he hadn't noticed anything strange about Borg recently. Then he decided Borg had been a little irritable the last few days. He said it wasn't like him to be irritable. That he'd never known Borg to miss work before, and that he'd never heard of any trouble between Borg and his wife. He said that Borg didn't talk much about his wife. We called on the neighbors of the Borgs. They said nothing to indicate any flaws in Mrs. Borg's story. Henry and Martha Borg were average people in an average neighborhood. He went to work every morning at 7 a.m. Came home at 5:15. His neighbors didn't know much about him. He was a quiet man. They lived in the same house for 13 years. Martha Borg was 47, maybe 48. They never had visitors. After 13 years in the same neighborhood, she apparently had no close friends. Two of her neighbors had noticed that in the past year, Martha Borg would leave her house 3 or 4 times a week at 11 a.m. Always at 11 a.m. She invariably got back before her husband did. The neighbor said she usually brought some shopping home with her. They did go out frequently in the evenings. However, there were no reports of family trouble between Martha and Henry Borg. Thursday, 6:20 p.m. We talked to Adolph Wernicke, whose grocery store was on the corner a half a block from the Borg home. They'd been trading with him ever since they moved to the neighborhood.
I don't know what to tell you about Mr. Borg, officer. He always seemed like a nice fellow to me. Didn't say much, but nice. Sure is funny, him disappearing like that.
You got any idea if he had any trouble with his wife?
No, that wife, she's a funny one. Different from Mr. Borg as day and night.
Well, how's that, sir?
Well, I don't know. High hat, sort of. She's all right, I guess. Kind of show-off, though. Kind of person who dresses up when she goes shopping around the corner. Likes to buy fancy groceries, stuff I never get calls for. Like those anchovies up there on the shelf. Now, I'll bet you I won't sell 2 cans of them in a year, but Mrs. Borg comes in and she'll buy them. Now, Mr. Borg, he don't like that kind of stuff at all. Told me so himself.
Yes, sir, but how'd they get along? Do you ever say anything about his wife?
To tell you the truth, officer, I don't know. As far as a man and his wife arguing, I don't pry. Hurts business. Come to think of it, he did say one thing. That was a long time ago, about 2 or 3 months ago, maybe more.
But what was that? What did he say?
Well, he came in here, just about like this time it was. Didn't buy anything, just kind of hung around. Remember, he seemed out of sorts. I asked him if he was feeling all right. Said he was. Just felt like he had to get away from the house. Now, that'll happen to a man. Just feel like you got to get away for a while. You know what I mean, officer.
No, sir, I'm not married. Thursday, 7:50 p.m. Borg's description and the circumstances of his disappearance have been broadcast to all units. Still no word. 4:10 p.m. Friday, June 19th. We checked Borg's union. He hadn't reported for a new job. We filed an all-points bulletin. 8:05 p.m. I checked back into the office. Mrs. Borg was waiting.
Sergeant Friday, I'd like to know just what's going on around here. My husband has been missing almost a week, and I don't see why something hasn't been done about it. If you can't find my husband, then why don't they put more men on this case? This is a terrible thing. I'm a woman alone, and the police haven't done a single thing. My husband may be dead. He may be dead, and nobody's doing anything about it.
In my work, you hear it every day, but you can't get mad. It's against regulations, and you can't blame them either. They're in trouble, so you let them talk. You try to explain. They don't listen, but you try.
Well, we're doing all we can, ma'am.
They're always talking these days about giving policemen more money. It seems to me there are certain policemen who aren't even earning the money they get right now.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you doing for my husband?
Ms. Borg, here's the file on it. Now, we've made regular checks on the hospitals, the jails, and the morgues. Thursday night, when you came in to file that Form 316, we had a complete description of your husband broadcast to all radio units in the city. It was teletyped to every police division. Today, we sent out an all-points bulletin over the state wire. Every police department, sheriff's office, and highway patrol unit in the state knows that your husband is missing. Here, you can see the bulletin right here, ma'am. Now, in these cases, ma'am, we start with nothing. We don't know where they've gone or why they've gone. Most of them turn up by themselves. Some of them don't. We do everything we can to find the ones that don't. Miss Borg, there are 4,000 police officers in this city looking for your husband. 8:57 p.m. When we thought Mrs. Borg was feeling better, we sent her home. We reminded her again to notify us immediately if she heard from her husband. 9:10 p.m. The desk at Central called and told us that they'd picked up a John Doe. From what they said, he apparently was suffering from amnesia. While I went down to Homicide to check out some reports, Frank went over to Central to see the man they picked up. 9:16 p.m. Frank came back to the office.
Joe?
Yeah.
Just checked out that John Doe at Central.
Anything on him?
Yeah, it's Henry Borg.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes.
Chesterfield quality is highest. Here's the proof.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield. First with premium quality and best for you.
Try Chesterfield today. Regular or king size.
9:18 p.m. Officers Gorman and Mayer brought in Henry Borg, alias John Doe. They found him wandering around in the 900 block down on South Spring Street, the financial district. Wasn't much reason for anybody to be loitering around there at that time of night. All the businesses in the area were closed. The officers investigated. When they questioned the suspect, he would not or could not reply. They took him to Central Division, where the watch commander, Lieutenant Hale, had him shaken down. His wallet was missing. No papers, no identification. In his pockets, the officers found 8 cents, a key ring, and several keys. No cigarettes, no matches. He was dressed in a good quality worsted suit, very rumpled. No tie, no hat. Gorman and Mayer had rolled his prints at the city hall and sent them to latent prints for classification. During this time, no one let him know that we had any idea who he was. The 2 officers that had picked him up stood by. Frank and I walked over to where he was sitting.
Do you know who you are?
Feel sick? Been drinking, maybe? What'd you have, a rough night? Look, if you can talk, mister, I think you better make things a lot simpler here. We're trying to help you. How about telling us who you are?
Maybe there's something wrong with you, mister, but we don't think so. We want to know who you are. We want you to tell us. If you don't, the only thing we can do is let them book you at city jail as a John Doe. That's the law. Now, look, if you're trying to hide something, if you're wanted, we're going to know it in a few minutes anyhow. If you want to wait, we'll wait it out with you. You want us to think you're an amnesia case. Is that it? Well, maybe you got a good reason, but it won't work. I've been in this department a long time. I've seen a lot of phony amnesia cases. I've only seen one real one, and he didn't act like you. You want to know what I think? I think you're pulling a phony.
Come on. How about it, mister? I got it. Missing persons, Frank. All right. Yeah. You bet. Thanks very much. Right. Okay. That was latent prints, mister. They got your fingerprints classified. Now, we know you're not wanted for anything.
Look, we know you're not a bum. Your clothes are good, and you look like a guy who takes good care of himself.
A man like you doesn't walk around without a wallet.
What happened to you?
You got a problem? Tell us about it. Maybe we can help you. Now, why don't you tell us who you are?
You probably got a wife. She must be mighty worried about you right now.
All right. Book him.
I lost my wallet.
How?
I don't know how.
Where?
I don't know where I've been.
Now, you listen to me, mister. We want to know who you are. We want to know where you've been, and we want to know right now.
I don't know who I am.
Let me see your hands.
What?
Your hands. Come on, hold them up. Let me see them. That's it. Now, I'm going to tell you something about yourself, mister. You work for a living, don't you? Hard work, with your hands.
Like a mason, maybe, huh?
Yeah, maybe you're a mason or a hod carrier. You could be a painter, some kind of construction work, I'd say. Something like a plasterer, for instance, huh?
You couldn't be a plasterer by any chance, could you, mister?
I don't know.
Okay. You ready to talk to us now, Henry?
I wasn't trying to fool you. I was only trying to fool myself.
Now, we've been looking for you since Tuesday, Borg.
Your wife's pretty worried.
I'm not going back. No matter what you do, I'm not going back.
We're not going to make you go back. That's up to you, Borg.
All they pay us for, mister, is to find you, to make sure you're okay. None of our business if you go back.
I'm not going back.
All right, now, look, you're pretty upset, Borg. Why don't you tell us about it?
It's crazy. It's crazy what I did. It doesn't make any sense. You fellas, you wouldn't be interested. Maybe I'll just go. If it's all right with you, I'll just go.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay if you want to. Look, we're going to be around here another hour. We haven't got much to do. Our work's all cleaned up. We're just about ready to go home. Why don't you stick around and talk to us, huh? We'd kind of like to hear what happened.
Yeah. Just might help to clear things up in your mind if you talked about it.
Oh, it's crazy. I know it's crazy, but I guess I do want to tell somebody about it.
How about a cigarette? Will that help?
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you a match.
I am a man 50 years old. I work hard. I learned my trade as a boy of 16. I've been at it ever since. My wife and me, we got a new car. We got our own home, almost paid for. A man my age, when he gets home nights, he wants to take it easy. Read the paper, watch the television. Bought a $400 TV, 21-inch screen.
Yeah.
You want to know what happens when I get home? She wants to go out. It don't make any difference how tired I am. It don't make any difference if I've been working hard all day. She wants to go out. Do you know what that's like?
Well, it doesn't sound like the reason a man would leave home, boy.
I don't mind it once in a while, if it was just once in a while, but she's after me every minute I'm home. Here for the last few years, it's been every night. I don't know what's come over her. She didn't used to be like that. Martha used to be a sensible woman. Now she acts silly like a young girl. She's different. Goes in for fancy clothes, all kinds of fancy food, even anchovies, and I don't like anchovies. Last month, I swear, she even made me take her down to the Ambassador Hotel. Imagine me at the Ambassador Hotel. All I ever hear from her is we've just got a few years left to have our fling. I don't want any fling. I'm a plasterer. That's hard work. I get home, I want to rest. It isn't like I cared if she goes out. She goes to the movies almost every day. Goes before noon, she tells me, before the prices go up. I don't care about the money. I want her to have a good time, the clothes, the things like that. I don't care. I love my wife. I guess you think I'm crazy after what I did, but I love my wife.
I see, sir.
And that dog, that Francine, what kind of a name is that for a dog? You ought to hear her talk to it like it was a person.
How long you had the dog, Borg?
I don't know. 2-3 years.
Well, the reason I asked seems funny. You just decided to leave home last Monday. Dog's been around 2 or 3 years. The ambassador thing was last month, you said.
Well, what did it? It was the lessons.
Lessons?
The dancing lessons.
What?
But there's this social club up around Pico and Figueroa. People go there to dance. People our age, she says. Only I can't dance. That's when she gets this idea I got to take dancing lessons. Did you ever hear of anything like that? A man my age has got to take dancing lessons?
That's when you left.
That was Sunday afternoon, when she got this idea. She kept picking at me all afternoon. It really got me. I thought about it all night. I couldn't sleep. Monday morning, I just didn't go to work. I got drunk instead. Got sick, too. Just couldn't think of anything else to do. Guess you know the rest. I lost my tie, my wallet, lost my hat, too. And they picked me up. I was just kind of wandering around when they picked me up. Seems like a shame when a man can't even go home.
Mm-hmm. You sure you don't want to go home now, Borg? Maybe if you talk things over with your wife.
No, it wouldn't do any good. Nothing I could say to her would do any good. I can't go home.
Well, it sure has been interesting hearing you talk, Mr. Borg. It's almost like hearing somebody tell about me, remember, Joe?
Yeah.
You had something like this?
Had it. With me, it was canasta, though. I hate cards, a waste of time. Yeah, I sure thought it was the end for me and Faye. Remember, Joe?
But it wasn't?
No, for a while there, it sure looked like I was going to lose my happy home. Guess I would have, too, but I talked turkey to her. You know what I mean, Borg?
No. What do you mean?
Talk turkey to him. Make him understand. You let a woman push you around, Borg, you're dead.
Well, with Martha...
Look, they're all the same. I sat her right down on the sofa, and I said, now look, Faye. And I told her what the score was. She took it, too. It's the only way to do. You try what I say, Borg. You'll see I'm right.
I can just see Martha if I ever tried to put my foot down.
That's what I thought. I was all set to give it up. Move in with Joe here, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Then I figured I might as well at least get a load off my chest. Once I got started, I lost my temper. You know, it's a funny thing. Faye's always thought more of me since then. You ask her. She'll tell you so herself. Says she respects a man who'll stand up for his own rights. Right, Joe?
Yeah.
I don't know. With me, I don't think it would work.
Sure it can. Now, Borg, you listen to me. You tell her you're a working man. Tell her when you get through work, you want to take it easy, and nobody's going to run you. Set her straight, Borg. Get tough if you have to. She won't give you any trouble after that.
I just don't know. Martha...
Won't do any harm to try it.
I'd like to see Martha's face just once if I even told her to shut up. I wouldn't want her to have anything handy to throw.
Borg, look, it's 12:10. We got to be getting home now. You take my advice. You go home, too. Have a talk with her. See if you can't work it out.
No, Sergeant. Thanks a lot, but I can't go home.
Well, like I told you, it's none of our business, but I think you ought to try.
Well...
Here. Well, look, you're going to need car fare. Here's $1. You take this and go on home. That'll get you there.
Well, Okay. You'll get this back, Sergeant. I'll pay it back to you. I guess maybe you're right. Can't hurt anything to try.
What's the stuff?
Thank you a lot. I didn't mean to put you fellas out this way.
Good luck to you, Borg.
You'll see. It'll work.
Maybe it'll work. Well... But I don't know. Martha...
I'll get out a cancellation, Joe. That should wrap it up, huh?
Yeah.
What time did you say it was?
It's 12:10.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I better make a phone call first.
This time of night? Why? What's the matter?
I just remembered I told Faye I'd call her.
Friday, July 28th. A month had passed since Henry Borg had left our office to go home. We'd heard nothing further from him or his wife, and we assumed that they had reconciled their problems. 6:10 p.m.
Officers?
Oh, hello there, Borg. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Borg.
I was afraid maybe you fellas wouldn't remember me. It's been a while. I tried to get out and see you before this.
Well, fine. How are things going?
Did it work out like I said?
I brought you something, Sergeant. Some cigarettes for both of you. Like you to have them. I hope it's the right brand.
Well, yes, sir. That's the right brand, all right, but you don't owe us anything.
I want you to have them.
That's all right, sir. You keep them.
All right. Well, anyway, here's that $1, the one you loaned me.
Okay, Borg. Thanks very much.
I sure owe you fellas a lot, and I really mean it. My wife and I, we sure appreciate what you fellas did for us. Was that clock right?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, gotta rush. Got an appointment. Be late if I don't hurry.
Appointment?
Yeah. Gotta get over to Arthur Murray's.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 31st, a meeting was held in the office of the captain of homicide. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we hope you've been listening to Dragnet regularly, and we hope you've tried our Chesterfields. If you haven't tried them yet, then tomorrow's your day. Get a carton, regular or king size. It only takes one carton of Chesterfields to show you why Chesterfield is best for you. Believe me, they're much milder with a wonderful taste. America's best cigarette buy, Chesterfield.
Since the subject, Henry George Borg, had committed no crime, he was not held, and the case was officially marked closed. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Irene Tedrow. Script by Paul Coates. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields, either regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
By special request, Dragnet is being sent to our servicemen and women all over the world. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork, king size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett and Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Jack Webb is Jeff Regan, Investigator. Hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the man who lived by the sea.
The next time you're out for a drive, pick up Olive Street along about the 700 block. You can't miss it. It's a big building made out of white granite. The Cosmopolitan Building. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, rents an office there. International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A couple of rooms with a connecting wastebasket. The Lion has the only desk in the office and the typewriter that Remington dropped from their catalog back in 1915. I walked in about 11 o'clock last Tuesday morning. The room was loaded with taboo. She was a tall girl with a flock of black hair and a mink coat. The kind you see driving a Nash convertible down Sunset Boulevard on warm Sunday afternoons. No wonder the Lion's cigar was out. It was wet on both ends. He had one arm around her shoulders. He knew by this time that coat was the real article. There wasn't any music, but he didn't seem to mind.
Come on in, Regan.
Not much room to dance.
We got business.
She's your date.
This is Mr. Regan, Miss Kara.
How do you do, Mr. Regan? Mr. Lyon tells me you're just the man I want.
Well, he said the same thing to a mortician last week.
Miss Kara is associated with the famous psychic consultant Prince Nemo.
I help the prince look into people's minds.
Well, now, that ought to be fun if all your customers are under 6.
You don't believe in thought transference, Mr. Regan?
Do you?
Prince Nemo sent Miss Kara to retain an operator.
Why didn't he come himself?
Prince Nemo never appears in public.
He misses some good ball games.
He has television.
Yeah.
The prince prefers to spend his time in meditation and thought. I handle all of his outside contacts.
Regan, I want you to drive out to Prince Nemo's home in Ocean Town with Miss Kara and speak to the prince.
What kind of a retainer did he send you?
We don't discuss finances in front of clients.
Oh, this is another blind spot. You don't know what this guy wants.
He said it's a very delicate matter, and he wants to explain it to you himself.
Oh, sure. She waltzed in here with a check, and you'd sell your grandmother to a glue factory for $2.
Is there any way I can reassure you, Mr. Regan?
Buy me a battleship.
You got a license and a contract with International.
You want to tell me about it, lady?
Prince Nemo was very excited this morning. He called me in and told me to make the arrangement.
It's not enough script.
He never tells me anything. I just work for him. Will you please?
Yeah, all right.
Here's a nickel. Call me and tell me what's up.
Suppose I can't.
Then you got something for your piggy bank.
The Lion stood there and watched us leave. He looked happy, like a hobo in a bubble bath. Well, we went downstairs. We climbed into her convertible. The guy in the parking lot had to take a walk around the block when she flashed him a smile. I asked her about lunch. She said no. I asked her about dinner. She said something that meant no. It's like that sometimes. The flag's up, the meter's ticking, and you get nowhere. But from a couple of things she told me, I got the idea that she was doing more than help the prince read minds. His place turned out to be a good hour from Los Angeles up 101. A couple of stories of glass and concrete leaning out over the ocean. Inside, a guy in a white turban and some pants that looked like oversized diapers put his hand on a big curved knife he had in his belt. He was wearing tennis shoes.
Right this way, Mr. Regan.
Butcher?
That's Guinea, the prince's manservant. He's from India.
But the Indians were glad to get rid of him.
Guinea's harmless, tongueless, and he doesn't hear. I like you, Mr. Regan. And this is the prince's study.
Come in. Oh, come in.
This is Mr. Regan.
Of course. Welcome, sir. Welcome. The Lion's Eye. I'm honored, sir. Please sit down. That'll be all, Lena?
Of course. I'll be in my office.
Charming girl, Lena.
She handle all your outside contacts?
Except for those matters I must attend to personally. Mr. Regan, I'm in trouble.
It's paid for.
I want you to save my life.
You look healthy.
I am healthy, let me assure you. But my life has been threatened.
They got police department.
I thought you understood. This is a delicate matter. We aren't here to discuss me.
Who's the guy?
It's a lady, Mr. Regan. A very beautiful and lovely creature. And she'd like nothing better than to see my carcass go out with the tide.
How do you know?
She's erratic, ill-tempered, and ruthless.
Any more?
Yeah, she called me this morning and told me what she intended to do.
You got a chance to reach for your gun.
To reach for you, Mr. Regan. Now, I feel the entire matter could be settled amicably if you were to call on her and inform her you are my personal bodyguard and that you are here to protect my life.
What makes you figure she'd go for that?
It's worth a try. And besides, I'm paying.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me how long you've been blackmailing her.
Blackmail? What do you mean?
Oh, your racket might last 6 months, a year, but not long enough to build a place like this. The answer's blackmail.
My dear fellow, Okay, so I should have told you.
Give it to me.
Well, I can slip them into a trance. They spill a family secret or two.
What kind of secret?
Any kind. They want their minds read. I read them. $25 a hit.
Where does the shakedown come in?
When I tell them what they told me.
You been putting a squeeze on her?
She's an actress. She was in on a deal with the studios.
And she won't shake.
She said she'd blow my head off. Look, I'm in a spot, Regan. She's the kind who'd do it and make love to the jury.
Give me a name.
Doris Patrick. Ever heard of her?
Where's she live?
Palisades. Here's her address.
All right.
You going over to talk to her now?
Well, she isn't gunning for me.
Oh, thanks a lot, Regan. You know, I've been sweating.
It's real good for a cold.
Yeah, I'll try and catch one.
You guys yell real loud when they answer back.
I'm just thinking of my future, Regan. I won't look good dead.
I left him sitting there scratching his bald head under his turban. He looked unhappy, like somebody fed him a Vaseline sandwich. Well, I climbed in my car, and I followed the highway to the turnoff back to Sunset. The Malibu fog was coming in for the winter, and by the time I got to the address Nemo'd given me, I was looking around for my hands. Doris Patrick's place was too big for a marble game and too small for football. There was a wire fence all around it and a sign every 15 or 20 feet or so that said, "Not to trespass." I parked on the boulevard and walked up the driveway. It was about then that a guy in a blue suit showed up. He was tall and heavy, and he caught a lot of his hat. He pulled down on the brim, blew smoke in my face, and kind of nudged me with his shoulder.
Well, go on, Pilgrim. We don't want any.
How do you know?
We're waiting for the 49s. Scram, huh?
You aren't even on the list.
All right, we'll wait for the 50s. Blow.
I came to see Doris Patrick.
Yeah, what for?
You her?
Sure. What do you want?
Business.
Shop closed.
You always like this, or you miss lunch today?
Look, I don't know who you are, Pilgrim, but you don't understand English.
Well, I know you. There's something about a guy in the lineup.
Yeah?
He memorizes easy.
Cop?
Private.
Private or city, you all smell the same to me.
Hunting season's over. You always carry a .38, do you?
Oh, that's showing?
Well, maybe you got a broken rib.
Well, I met all kinds of funny guys.
I said I wanted to see her.
Ain't in.
Watchdog?
Now you're getting smart.
Well, you aren't.
What kind of crack is that?
Just this. I'm going in.
Trick I learned a long time ago. You shoot a guy in the knee and he don't ever walk straight again.
Ever done it, punk?
Oh, sure. That's how I learned.
Mm-hmm. That's when I learned, baby. He slumped against the side of the wall, and he looked tired, like he'd been running from Compton. Well, I left him there, and I went up the driveway to the porch. Coming around a blind corner, I bumped into something that kind of relaxed and rolled into me. It was a blonde girl, about 25, in a white polo coat. I was willing to try it again, but she began talking with a voice that was deep enough to go in the oil business.
Oh, I thought you might be running interference, but you look like the whole team.
Whose side are you on, lady?
I keep score.
Doris Patrick?
You're on the right field.
Where's the locker room?
Maybe I like you. Where do you come from?
Right here.
Didn't know we raised your kind anymore. Or did you go wild?
Do I pass?
What'd you say your name was?
Regan.
Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Which highway?
Straight ahead. To the den.
Nice place you got. When's harvest time?
I said welcome.
That isn't what the tall boy said.
Tall boy?
A blue suit with a .38 and a hat.
That'd be Jesse. I was married to him once.
What about now?
Oh, he hangs around like that sometimes. I never see much of him. Trouble?
No, not much.
You got a lot of size, mister. Must have been good. Do that kind of thing often?
Only when I have to.
Sit down. How do you like it? Soda or water?
Your way?
There now. Isn't that better?
I don't know. This is my first drink.
You'll get another. It's a cold day.
Nothing here.
You're quick. Must have a good straight man.
His name's Prince Nemo.
Must we talk about him?
He thinks you're dangerous stuff.
What do you think?
Right now or when I'm a couple of feet away?
Now.
Hey, now look, remember me? I just got here.
Your name's Regan, and we're going to get along.
Yeah.
It's in the cards.
You got a fast deck.
Go ahead. Deal.
All right. How much time between rounds?
Yes? Who? Oh, just a minute. You know somebody named Lion?
Yeah.
He has quite a roar. Here.
Yeah.
Who's the name? Where's the phone?
Nemo's friend.
Sounds like he's a friend of yours.
All right, you got something to say?
It's all off.
Check bounce?
It was certified. Nemo called 10 minutes ago and canceled the contract.
Now, what happens now?
Finish, come back to the office.
Who told you I was here?
The Prince.
It was a quick change.
We got paid.
Well, I already started something.
I don't care what you started. You finish it on your own time. Next bench sheet.
Bad news?
Well, I'm through working for the day. Well, I was an old friend of the family when I left. She didn't want me to go, but I was thinking about Prince Nemo and the way that nothing made sense. The whole thing looked phony, like an undertaker in a white derby. It didn't take 20/20 vision to see that somebody was getting anxious to make a play. By the time I got home, I figured I was out of it. But my company had other ideas. It was Jesse, and he had friends. You should lock your door, Regan. Why? You'd crawl under. All right, fellas. Friends? Yeah, I just hired him. You got a parade permit? Stan, say hello to Regan.
Hello, stupid.
What about Skinny?
Hiya, Grogan.
Name's Regan. He's a detective. Isn't that right? You're pretty good with your women, Regan. You know, you look lonesome, Jesse. You got something to say? Stay away from it. You're shaking. You want a drink? Already had one. Stan, Skinny, set him on a bed.
Let go.
Oh, Regan, once more. Once more. Stay away from it. You said that before. I want to make sure you understand. Stan, Skinny, hold his arms. I've said all the right words. Maybe my punctuation's bad, huh? Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Okay. Okay, leave him on the bed.
Hey, he rolled off.
Oh, that's fine. Fine. Now he won't have to change his sheets. Oh, Jesse was good. When I got up, my face looked like a relief map of Pasadena. He was wearing a signet ring. He left out some of the boulevards, but the Rose Bowl was right out in front. I found a drink in the cabinet, and I started for the mirror to see what was left. It was about then I heard a knock on the door. He was a little guy in a cab driver's suit. It figured that he got the job because they ran out of big uniforms. They double-crossed him on that cap. If it wasn't for his ears, he'd have been wearing a snood.
Hiya.
Yeah?
Football?
What do you want?
Your name, Regan.
That's what it says in the mailbox.
I met a friend of yours today.
Get to the point, will you?
A dame. Named Lee McCara. Yeah, Lee McCara. Some dish.
All right. You're in the register.
Wait, that ain't all. She wants to see you.
What about?
Didn't say. Just said to see if you was home. You home?
Yeah.
I got her down in my cab.
We'll send her up.
I don't think she can make it.
What do you mean?
She looks kind of funny. Maybe you better come down.
She was sitting on the edge of the seat, staring out at nothing. Her back was as stiff as a filing cabinet, and there was a little ring of white around her lips. I paid off the cabbie, and I took her back up to my place without a word. When we closed the door, she was sitting on my sofa the same way. Only this time she had a .25 automatic in her hand.
Well?
Where'd you get the gun, lady?
Gun? Oh, yes. I bought it for $30.
Can I see it?
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I brought it so I could show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $30 for it. I paid $30 for it.
Yep. Brand new, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course. Did you know Prince Nemo was my husband?
Since when?
Long time now. Not many people know that.
Did you come here to tell me that?
No, I came to tell you that you don't have to worry anymore.
About what?
what my husband hired you for?
Well, I've already been called off.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you meet Doris Patrick?
Yeah?
And it was about her.
What do you want, lady?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just that we don't have to worry anymore, do we?
Tell me about the gun.
Doris is very pretty, don't you think? Seen her on the screen many times. And she's quite pretty. Could hardly blame the prince at all. Could hardly.
Why'd you bring the gun?
I imagine the air would be cleaner there, don't you?
What are you talking about?
Really very humane, they tell me.
Come on, stop it.
Just like sitting down and never waking up. I read all about it. Just walk in and sit down. You don't try to hold your breath.
Stop it, sis. Stop it. Now listen to me. What is it? What have you done? What are you trying to say?
You don't try to hold your breath. You go right to sleep, don't you?
You're trying to tell me that you killed him?
They don't make such a great deal of noise, do they? They've been sitting there in his house by the sea. He looked very much alive, only... He isn't alive at all. Tell me, Mr. Regan, tell me. Do I make a good murderer? Do I?
Well, after she got through screaming, she settled down to a slow, even kind of giggle that started somewhere around her shoelaces and didn't get past her knees. Gave me a feeling like somebody was unwrapping an atomic bomb under a Christmas tree. Well, she wasn't going to do any more talking, so I went downstairs and brought back a doctor friend of mine named Sammy Wing. He had his little black bag with him, and he gave her a shot of something. She wilted like last night's orchid and went to sleep. Sammy wrote down a couple of things, and then he looked up at me.
Some playmate. Wish I'd have been here for the party.
How is she, Sam?
You know her better than me.
Oh, is she going to be all right?
In 4 or 5 hours, she'll wake up and want some water.
And then what?
She might ask you what happened, or it might start all over again. By the way, what was it?
I don't know. She came over to see me.
I should have visitors like this. I've been working too hard.
She said she killed a guy who was a client of mine.
Maybe I'm lucky at that. Why the past tense?
The Lion called me off the case.
Official, huh?
Yeah.
You've got nobody to protect. Where's the corpse?
At a house in Ocean Town.
Here, call the police. And you and me can go out and do our Christmas shopping.
Oh, she said she used this gun.
A .25, it killed people.
No, Sammy, there's a bullet jammed in the chamber.
James don't know how to reload.
It hasn't been fired.
Ballistics got better ways of telling. She's pretty and she's nice, and I'll bet she looks like $1 million in a bathing suit. But if I'd have met her within the last 3 hours, I'd have run for help.
Is that professional?
Acute hysteria. The kind that pops off guns and people and does a lot of things they can't remember later on. Call Sanducci.
Look, it doesn't figure she'd do it with this.
Maybe she had another one. While you're at it, call the coroner. Tell him to go out there with some DOA forms.
No, I'm going first.
Corpse hunt?
Just an idea.
Labrucherie had an idea.
Yeah.
This dame's bipped somebody, and she's told you her story.
Well, I don't like it.
What do they do when a private eye messes up an open and shut murder case?
Sammy, stay with her, will you? There's some bourbon out in the kitchen.
Maybe both of us will get our pictures in the papers.
I left him sitting there. He looked sad, like a water buffalo caught in a drought. I pushed through the fog for about 40 minutes, and I pulled up in front of Nemo's place in Ocean Town about 9:30. It was dark enough to give a ghost the creeps. I used that ring of keys that I'd taken from her purse, and I went inside. It smelled dry and still, like somebody was waiting for the world to fall apart. I clicked on my flash, and I walked down the long hall to his office. Well, he was there, just like she said. And there were 3 holes in the front of his shirt, close range, but it wasn't the laundry's fault. He'd been dead maybe 2 hours. The desk drawer showed some canceled checks made out to Doris Patrick. While I was thinking that over, I spotted a .38 Smith & Wesson on the floor by his hand. Lynn had been carrying a .25. I broke it, and 3 cartridges fell out. From the looks of the holes in his chest, the .38 was the gun for the job. Well, that made her story and the .25 a fairy tale. While I was kneeling there, a light went on behind me. A fat man wearing a sheriff's star was standing by the switch. A tall leather jacket with a flashlight in his hand was in front of me. I began to feel helpless, like a trombone player with a short arm.
Scavenger hunt, son? You don't talk, Charlie.
Ain't much for him to say, is there, Cap?
Yes, not. Well, son?
You're You're going to be calling me names.
What do you like best? Killer, murderer, slayer? Papers use slayer a lot.
I don't like any of them.
Kind of breezy for a hot boy, ain't you? You mind giving me a name?
Regan. I'm with the International Detective Bureau.
It's Regan, Cap. He's with the International Detective Bureau. Got a card or something, son?
Yeah. Here.
This guy here, a friend of yours?
My client, Lawrence.
What'd you do for him? Okay, tell me this. Why'd you plug him?
There's another story.
Any good?
Better than the one you got.
You'll have a hard time selling it.
It's a fix.
Oh, why you want to say a thing like that?
How long you been on the force?
Easy, Regan. Me and Cap's being nice. Phone call a little while ago. Funny kind of voice. Said we'd find a stiff here. But didn't say we'd find you. Yeah, you're extra.
The dame who worked for him told me.
You tell homicide?
No.
That was a mistake. Where's this girl now? Name? Charlie. Call a coroner. Oceantown is just a small place. Only me and Charlie around. We borrow from the county when we get something like this.
Well, I can find you a real answer in an hour.
You got ideas?
Lots of them.
You can tell me all about them later. We got a corpse, we got a suspect. You know, that's good. Even a weapon.
I'll have an alibi when you check the time of death.
We'll worry about that later on. All right, son. Let's go.
Well, I had about as much chance as an elephant in a tea room if those two locked me and booked me. I leaned back into his gun, spun around, knocked his wrist down. He pulled the trigger. But I'd already hit the light switch, and he was making rockets in the dark. I left my car there and cut across the highway and doubled back up the hill. They spread out in the wrong direction. An hour later, I was standing in front of the lion's door. He was wrapped in a bathrobe big enough to keep all the silkworms working overtime.
What do you want, Regan?
Information.
You been drinking?
I've been working.
That Lena Cara see you?
You sent her.
She called me and said she wanted to hire you for something else.
After Nemo canceled the contract.
Yeah, why?
You gave her my address.
I thought you ought to talk to her. What you want?
She told me that she killed the prince.
She can't do that. We got a contract.
Well, it's already been done.
We're in a spot.
Yeah, I figured that'd get through to you.
They'll be asking me all kinds of questions.
Well, why didn't you think of that before you signed?
What are we going to do?
You're going to find out where this 25 came from and if anybody fired it.
Huh?
She was carrying it when she came to me.
I don't want to get involved.
Well, you're in it up to your ears. I went out there and found the prince. Only a 38 might have done the job.
Yeah? Well, that cleans her up.
Not yet. The Oceantown sheriff and a guy named Charlie are looking for me.
What for?
They think I know something.
Do you?
Not yet. There was a tip-off. Somebody was supposed to be a patsy.
Where's Cara now?
My place with Sammy Wing.
I'm going to get a lawyer. It'll look good.
All right, give me the keys to your car.
Why?
I got a date.
Find out who fogged Nemo when we won the championship.
Yeah. You'll have to give the cup back. You cheated. I drove back out to Doris Patrick's place in the Palisades, and I rang the bell and waited. Took her a while, but she showed. She was wearing a filmy kind of a thing that made a spider's web look like canvas. I began to feel warm, like a sun lamp on a picture set.
We had a date at 9 o'clock.
I broke my watch.
Come in, I'll see if I can fix it. I'm great with a swift movement.
Yeah, it shows.
We were going to look at the stars together.
How long you been here?
I gave you up at 10. Tell me, how do you like my new dress?
It's the right color, but the wrong cut for a funeral.
I haven't read the obituaries today.
No, it'll be in tomorrow's paper.
Have a drink, and let's wait for tomorrow.
Your friend Nemo was killed tonight.
He was no friend of mine. I told you that.
So did he.
You fall off his house?
Murdered.
We've been having fun up to now.
You know, you'll be first guess.
I don't think I like that.
He tried to blackmail you.
The story's backwards.
Well, that's the way it comes out.
Not quite.
You got another way?
He never tried to blackmail me.
Mm-hmm.
I blackmailed him.
How?
I went to him one day and put him in a trance. Only I used scotch. I found out what he was doing and how he was doing it, so I turned the tables. It was good, clean fun, but expensive for him.
Well, now, if he was your meal ticket, then you have an alibi, huh?
Could be canceled check somewhere.
Right where I could find him.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where does Jesse fit?
Oh, I told you we were married once. He's jealous.
Did he know about Nemo?
Maybe.
He was watchdog when I came out.
I told you. Jesse.
Hello, gorgeous. I still have a key.
What do you want?
You.
Get out.
You still trapping with his trap?
Just in time, Jesse.
You know, you didn't list good. I told you to lay off.
Where's your friend?
Paid off. I'm handling this alone.
We've been finished for a long time.
Oh, it's starting up again, Angel. Or didn't you know Nemo was dead?
I saw your 38 tonight, Jesse.
Ah, you're wrong. It's her 38. It's got her prints in it.
What do you mean?
I put him there. And you're going to be tagged for his murder, ain't you? You see, you're sort of in a spot.
Regan.
Easy, baby. This punk never did anything right.
Huh? Tell me how wrong I've been.
All right, that tip to the Ocean Town cops was wrong. Killing Nemo was wrong.
Ah, you're twisted, Pilgrim. Cops got a warrant out for you right now. Yeah, I heard it on the car radio. Murder suspect. Plugging you is something they'll thank me for.
With her prints on the gun?
Well, how was I to know? I just see you and plug you. Everybody will be sorry, but it'll be manslaughter and suspended. It's pretty right, isn't it?
Well, what about me?
A friend of mine shoving off at Pedro tonight, Angel. Going all over the world. We'd be together. Well, Angel, do I plug it and meet you somewhere in 2 weeks, huh? Move over, Regan. The lady's making up her mind. Now, what do you like?
Oh, it was a real photo finish. Just as Jesse set the gun up against my head, Doris pulled a gun from the desk drawer and threw a couple of fast ones into him. Jesse tried for her. I'd call it a dead heat, but you'd have to give Doris the edge. Her first slug cut him down like a blade of grass, but she didn't give up. Well, he's all used up.
Never shot anyone before.
You look like a professional. Give me the gun.
He deserved to die. Didn't he? Didn't he?
I don't know, lady. You knew him better. Well, it all unwound like red thread in a Levi factory. Nemo told me his phony story so he'd have a good self-defense angle when he finally got around to killing Doris Patrick some afternoon. Jesse worked for him to keep me out, but I bounced him and got inside. When Jesse phoned Nemo about it, Nemo called the Lion and had me jerked before we could compare notes. I guess Jesse went kind of crazy when he saw how well we got along. He got an idea and killed Nemo and made Doris a patsy with those fingerprints. Lena Cara? Well, she went kind of crazy, too. She found Nemo dead and got the idea she did it. It took 3 doctors a couple of days to tell her what really happened. And the Lion was mad when he found out there wasn't any money in it. But then when he saw Doris Patrick's picture in the paper, he got kind of curious. He asked just one question. What did I do all that afternoon I was out in her house? Well, I didn't even bother to answer him.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. The story of the man who lived by the sea returns tonight by special request and was written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy. In tonight's cast, the role of Doris Patrick was played by Yvonne Patey. Also heard Sidney Miller, Peggy Weber, Paul Frees, Marvin Miller, and Barry Crozier. Music for this program is by Milton Charles. Sound off for Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young girl has been shot with a .22 caliber rifle. It was reported as suicide. Your job, investigate. Here is Chesterfield's record with smokers, and important to you.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report of a doctor who has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers for a full year and 2 months as a part of a program supervised by a responsible independent research laboratory. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality. Chesterfield. First choice of young America. And that's from a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Chesterfield. Regular or king size. They're much milder and best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch on a homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:03 a.m. when I checked into room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Yeah?
Back here in the skipper's office. Ray Geesey wants to talk to you.
All right.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, Ray. What do you got?
Suicide.
Anything on it?
Here's the report. Team from the business office went out last night. Get on it right away, will you?
Right. Let's go. Huh?
Yeah.
Want to check this stuff before we get started?
Might as well give us an idea what we got to do. What's the report say? There you go.
Let's see. According to this, business office got a call at 2:30 this morning. Landlady out in the Westlake Park district called in and said that this young girl had committed suicide.
They get an ID on her?
No, they got her listed as Jane Doe, number 17. There's a description here.
Better check it with missing persons, huh?
Uh-huh.
How'd the landlady happen to find the body?
Well, according to the report, she heard the water running in the apartment, finally went up to see what it was. She knocked on the door, nobody answered. She opened it and went in, found the body.
Well, the girl didn't live in the apartment then?
No, place is rented to a Ross Mitchell.
Anything on him?
No, says he wasn't home. He was checked through R&I, no make on him.
How about prints on the victim?
No go. Checked them out. Nothing on her here. We could send them on to Washington.
Yeah.
And they found a suicide note. There's a copy of it here.
What's it say?
Ross, I've tried to make you understand. Nothing seems to do any good. I've told you that I won't stand in the way of your career, but you don't want to try to make a go of it. I know this doesn't solve anything. It's the only way I can think of.
Any signature?
No. The report says that the original copy's over at the crime lab for processing.
Well, I guess we better start with the landlady, huh?
It's the best lead we got. Galindo and Bates are out there now. Place was staked right away.
Friday, you want to talk too?
Right, thanks, Ray. It's Friday talking. Yeah. Uh-huh. No, we just got it. Is that right? Okay, Max. No, have him wait there, will you? No, we'll be right over. All right, thank you. Well, it's a little break. Max over at the coroner's office says they know who the girl is.
Yeah.
Her father just identified the body. "8:14 a.m. We left the city hall and we went over to the Hall of Justice. We met the victim's father, a Mr. Robert Andrews Paul. He told us that there could be no mistake. The body was that of his daughter, Gloria Z. Paul. The attendant had given him some smelling salts, and after introducing us, he'd left to close off the viewing room.
I don't understand why she'd do it. None of it makes sense.
Well, when did you see your daughter last, Mr. Paul?
Saturday afternoon. That was the last time. I never saw her again.
She was gone Saturday night and all day yesterday, is that it?
Yeah.
You hear from her at all?
No.
Weren't you worried about her at all?
No, sometimes she doesn't come home, stays with a girlfriend, but when I didn't hear from her last night, I got worried, started calling around.
Did she say where she was going when she left?
Told me she was going over to see Peggy. Said the two of them were going to a show and that she'd be home for dinner, sure.
Well, who is this Peggy?
Peggy Rockwell, a friend of Gloria's.
Uh-huh. Have you talked to her?
What?
I say, have you talked to this Peggy since your daughter disappeared?
Yes, I called her last night. I talked to her then. I was most out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. I talked to her last night. She didn't know.
Did your daughter know anybody named Ross Mitchell?
Ross Mitchell? No, I don't think I've ever heard the name. Why do you ask that?
Oh, just wondered.
You know something about this you're not telling me, is that it?
No, sir, we don't.
Well, it must be something like that. You don't just come up with a name like that out of thin air. You got to have a reason. Now, look, I'm her father. I got a right to know. All night sitting there waiting for the phone to ring, calling her friends, thinking she's been in an accident, imagining all kinds of things. If you know something, you should tell me. I've got to know. How am I going to tell her mother? Poor woman's almost dead with worry. She doesn't know about this. All she knows is that the baby's gone, that's all. The baby's gone. Gloria's dead. I don't know what to do.
All right, Mr. Paul, try to take it easy.
I'm sorry if you got a cigarette.
Yes, sir. Here. Here, I'll give you a light.
Sorry about that.
It's all right, sir. We understand. Now, do you think you can give us an address where we can talk to this Peggy Rockwell?
Yeah, she works at a restaurant over on 7th. I've got a home address, too, if you want it.
Yes, sir. We hope you'll understand this, Mr. Paul. We don't mean any offense here.
What's that?
Did your daughter have any steady boyfriends that you know about?
No, I don't think so. No one that she went with steady.
No one man she liked more than the others?
I think there was. I don't know who. Her mother asked her about it a couple of times, wanted to know who the fellow was, but Gloria'd never say. Just said that it wasn't serious, it didn't matter.
I'd seem to get along with this man, would you know?
All right, I guess. I told you I never saw him. I didn't know who he was. But whenever Gloria had a date with him, she acted like it was something special.
Did your daughter have a job?
Not regular. She used to model once in a while, and then maybe she'd pick up a day's work in pictures, not much.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of any reason why she'd want to take her own life?
No. She seemed pretty happy, never gave any indication there was anything wrong.
Has she been ill lately under a doctor's care?
No, not that I know about.
Well, Mr. Paul, is it possible she might have been seeing a doctor and you wouldn't know about it?
No, her mother would have known. She'd have told me. Now, I'm pretty sure she was feeling all right.
Anything about her job that bothered her?
What do you mean?
Well, was she happy with what she was doing, the kind of work she was doing?
Oh, yeah. Gloria didn't want a career. She was looking for a husband, one to settle down and raise a family.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you think of anything at all that might make her want to take her own life, as I asked you before?
I can't understand it. None of it makes any sense to me. Where she was found, she didn't know anybody in that part of town. I don't know what she'd be doing over there.
Did she drink?
I don't think I understand.
Well, did she drink much, sir? At bars, cocktail lounges?
No, she didn't. Now, Gloria was a good girl. She didn't drink or smoke. She was a good girl, and I don't understand all this. First this thing with Ross, and now you want to know if she drinks. I don't know what you're trying to get at, but I don't like it. You're trying to make Gloria something that she isn't. She's a good girl, always has been. Just a home and family, that's all she wanted, nothing more. I don't know why you're asking me all these questions. I'm her father. You're the police. It's up to you to find the reason. That's your job. Not to come around and say things about my girl.
I'm sorry. We're not saying anything, Mr. Paul.
You are, too. You're trying to make me believe that Gloria wasn't a nice girl. Now, I know different. I raised her since she was a baby. Gave her all the care I could. I don't know why she'd do a thing like this.
You don't?
No. Why ask me these questions?
Well, sir, you said it yourself.
Huh?
You're her father. We continued to talk to the father of the victim. From him, we got a list of the girl's friends, the address, and the names of the people that she worked for. While we were talking to him, he was unable to give us any idea as to why his daughter, Gloria Paul, might want to take her own life. He insisted that he didn't know anybody or any one of his daughter's acquaintances named Ross Mitchell. A telephone call was put through to his wife, but she was unable to tell us who the man was. 8:20 a.m. Mr. Paul recovered from the initial shock, and he went home. 8:39 a.m. We drove over to the rooming house where Gloria Paul had been found. On the way, we stopped to call the crime lab to see if they'd been able to come up with anything in the dead girl's effects to help us. Lieutenant Lee Jones at the lab told us that they hadn't finished their investigation yet. 8:50 a.m. We arrived at the house and talked with the landlady, Thelma Keene.
It's terrible. Poor little thing.
You haven't seen Ross Mitchell yet, is that?
No, he hasn't come in. I told the officers last night that I didn't expect him until noon today.
Have you seen the girl before?
Once in a while, she'd come in with Ross, wait for him, and then they'd go right out.
Did you see her last night, sir?
I told the officers that were here last night that I didn't. Didn't you talk to them at all?
Well, yes, ma'am. We have the report they filed, Mrs. Keene, but we'd like to get some additional facts from you.
It seems like a waste of time, but I suppose you have to.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any idea when she might have come in?
No, not the slightest.
When was the last time you saw Mitchell?
Saturday around noon. He came in and told me that he'd be out of town over the weekend. Said for me to keep an eye on the place.
Yes, ma'am. Did he tell you where he was going?
He said he was going to visit an assistant director friend of his over in La Cañada.
Did you say what the friend's name was?
No, they're working on a picture together. Ross just met him the other day. Asked him out for the weekend. Ross is very good at making friends.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where he's working?
No. Ross just said it was a sea adventure. Doing it in full color. 3D, too. I guess it's going to be quite a spectacle. They didn't have all the gimmicks in my day.
Ma'am?
Didn't have 3D or the other things. In my day, we acted. We knew how to act. From the heart. These youngsters are good flack. Can make a star out of anybody. Oh, things have changed. And here, this one. That's me with the pith helmet. This was made over on Catalina Island. We were shooting a jungle picture. We acted. No doubles for us, real actors.
When was this, ma'am?
A few years ago. Now, why are you asking all these questions about Ross?
Well, the note the girl left was addressed to him.
That doesn't mean anything. Just some lovesick girl. Doesn't mean Ross had anything to do with it.
How'd you happen to find the body?
I went to bed about 10:30. They were running one of my old movies on TV, and I stayed up to see it. You happened to catch it? The thing called The Floods Will Come. I made it over at Catalina. It starred Nick Benton, real movie idol. Here's one of the stills from the picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's the whole company. That's me. And that's Nick with the puttees. He'd put on a little weight. I remember he had to do road work while we were there to trim down. Held the company up for a week. A grand picture. They didn't do it right on television, though. Looked a little corny. I guess the way they ran it through the machines. You know, we all looked pasty. Even Nick.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go on, please?
Well, after I saw the rest of the picture, I went up to the kitchen, got a bowl of shredded wheat to eat in bed, came back to the bedroom, and I heard this noise.
What noise was that, ma'am?
Like somebody was running water in one of the taps. Went on and on. Pretty soon it started to bother me. I couldn't understand it. Finally, I went up to see who it was. Noise came from Ross's apartment. I knocked, but there wasn't any answer, so I unlocked the door and went in. I thought something was wrong. And that's when I saw her.
I see.
She was lying on bed. Right away, I called the police.
Now, before you went up, did you hear any other noises? Any sound of a struggle, anything like that, maybe?
No, just the water running.
Well, how about the shot, ma'am? You hear that?
No, I didn't. A lot of shooting in the picture I was watching.
Did you touch anything in the room?
No, I turned the lights, but that's all. The room was dark when I went in. Just turned on the lights, and then I called you.
According to our report, there wasn't any purse found with the body. Did you see one when you went in there?
I didn't. But if I had, you'd gotten it. What are you trying to say? That I stole her purse? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, ma'am, that's not what we're trying to say.
Better not. I've got a reputation in this town. I know a lot of big people. I'm not going to have you come in here and call me a thief.
Well, we didn't mean to offend you, ma'am.
Who has a key to Mitchell's place besides him, ma'am?
No one. He's got the only one. I don't like a lot of keys to the rooms out. I tell all the tenants that.
Have you got any idea how the girl might have gotten into the room?
No.
Do you know who the gun belonged to?
Yes, it was Ross's.
You pretty sure about that, are you?
Yes, I saw it when he moved in. Commented on it then. He said that he'd had it since he was a kid. Kept it out of sentiment. What's this all about, anyway? You seem to think that there's something wrong. Is that it?
No, ma'am. It's just that in things like this, we have to make a complete investigation. You can understand.
Oh, well, I want to do all I can to help you, but I do have an appointment. If there's nothing more you want, I'd like to be going.
That's all right, Miss Keene. If we want to talk to you, we'll be able to reach you here?
Yes, right here.
We'll give you a call to tell you about the inquest.
Am I going to have to be there?
Yes, ma'am. You and Mitchell.
Why him?
Well, it was his apartment, ma'am.
But he didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, maybe so, ma'am, but he'll still have to be there.
It's not fair. A thing like this can ruin him. By the time the papers get through with it, he'll be finished. It can ruin his career. He doesn't know anything about it. He won't be able to tell you anything.
Well, you're wrong there, ma'am.
Huh?
He's got a lot to explain. We went upstairs and met the officer staked out in the room and looked at the apartment where the girl had been found. 9:20 a.m. We gave our card to Thelma Keene and asked her to call us if she thought of anything else. We also asked her to notify us immediately in the event she heard from Mitchell. The stakeout on the room continued. 9:52 a.m. We drove over to the coffee shop on West 7th Street to talk to the girl's friend, Peggy Rockwell. We found her in the back of the place typing out the day's menus.
What about Gloria? Something wrong?
When was the last time you saw her, miss?
Well, let's see. Saturday night, she stayed at my house. Left about noon on Sunday. I had the day off. Figured that maybe we'd do something, but Gloria said she had something to do. Last I saw her was on Sunday morning.
You know a man named Ross Mitchell?
That bum.
Why do you say that, Miss Rockwell?
'Cause he is. Real no good.
You pretty friendly with Miss Paul?
Well, Gloria thought so. Turned out he was just using her.
Well, how do you mean?
Thought at first she could get him some jobs. Turned out when he could do better, he dropped her. They were going to get married, and then he thought he could do better, so he dropped her. Say, do you mind if I go ahead with these menus? The boss will be sore if I don't get through with them.
No, you go right ahead, miss.
We can talk while I'm doing it.
Yes, ma'am.
I took a course once, touch typing. Didn't think I'd ever use it. Boy, was I fooled.
You go right ahead, miss.
Well, this Ross really gave her the rush. Had her take him around, introduce him to her friends. She got him a couple of jobs. She's the one who introduced him to Mike.
Mike?
Yeah, Mike Cowell, that's Ross's agent. Peggy set it up. She's done just about everything for him. Then the bum acts like this.
What do you mean, miss?
Treated her so bad. Say, how do you spell croquettes?
Well, I think it's CROQUETTES.
OQUETTES. Turkey. They had roast turkey last night. I don't understand how people can eat them, but we sure sell a lot of them.
Did Miss Paul say she was going to see Ross over the weekend?
Yeah. She said she had an appointment with him Sunday. Said she'd called him and set it up.
You know what time?
No, just said she wasn't going on like this. Had to be straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame her. She's told her friends they were going to get married, and at the last minute, Ross would back out.
Her family know about Ross?
No. Father didn't mind her doing a little work in show business, but he didn't want her to marry anyone in it. She thought that if they just got married, then the family'd understand.
Joe?
Yeah.
I'll call the crime lab, see if they've finished.
Yeah, fine, thanks. How'd Miss Paul and Mitchell seem to get along, ma'am?
What do you mean?
Well, did they have any arguments or disagreements, would you know?
Not often. Most of the trouble they had was about getting married. Ross kept saying that it wouldn't do him any good to be married now. He thought that it might hurt his career. That's all he thought about.
Were you ever present at any of these arguments?
Once. We'd gone out on a double date, went to a place down at the beach, had dinner, and then stopped on the way back for a couple of drinks.
Uh-huh.
Ross got pretty drunk, got into a big thing about his career.
Yeah.
He went on and on about how hard he'd work, how much the theater meant to him, all that kind of stuff.
I see.
Finally, he said right out that he'd kill anyone who tried to stop him, just like that. He'd kill anyone who tried to stop him.
Joe?
Yeah.
See you a minute.
Would you excuse me, please?
Sure. Just a minute. Is there one L or two L's in broccoli?
Just one, ma'am.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Just talked to Lee Jones.
Yeah, did he finish up?
Yeah, something's wrong.
What's that?
He thinks the girl was murdered.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Years ahead of them all. Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes. Chesterfield quality is highest. Here's the proof. Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest. Chesterfield quality highest. 15% higher than its nearest competitor. Chesterfield quality highest. 31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you.
Try Chesterfield today, regular or king size.
10:37 a.m. We drove to the crime lab and talked with Sergeant J. Allen. He told us that when they checked for powder burns on the body, they hadn't found any. They measured the reach of the dead girl and found that it would have been almost impossible for her to have pulled the trigger on the rifle, leaving the fingerprints they found on the gun. Blotter test failed to show any traces of nitrate powder on her hands. They checked the handwriting on the suicide note found in the room against samples of Gloria Paul's writing and found that they didn't match. From their findings, they said that it was their opinion that the girl had not killed herself, that she'd been murdered. We went back to the city hall and got out a local and an APB on Ross Mitchell. We called the landlady of his rooming house. She hadn't heard from him. 12:30 p.m., we went back to the rooming house and relieved the stakeout. We asked the landlady not to say anything to Mitchell about our being there. 12:45 p.m., still no sign of the suspect. 1 o'clock. 1:30.
Who are you? What are you doing in my place?
Come on in.
Who are you?
Police officers, come on in. Close that door. Put that suitcase down.
What's this all about, anyway? What have you guys been doing here? The place is
You
all
Ross
torn up.
Mitchell?
Yeah, why?
You know a girl named Gloria Paul?
What's she got to do with it?
You know her?
Yeah, I know her.
When's the last time you saw her?
Say, what's this all about? What's all these questions?
When was the last time you saw Gloria Paul?
Friday night, I guess.
Don't you know for sure?
All right, Friday night.
You haven't seen her since?
I told you, the last time was Friday
You
night.
didn't see her Sunday?
No.
Where were you Saturday and Sunday?
Out of town.
Where?
La
Can you
Cañada.
prove you were there?
Why?
Can you prove you were there?
I don't like all this. You guys coming in here asking a lot of questions. What are you trying to prove?
Who are you staying with?
A friend of mine.
What's his name?
I'm not going to have him dragged into this.
You haven't got any choice.
That's what you say. You haven't told me what this is all about. I'm not telling you anything till you tell
Now,
me.
you look, Mitchell, understand this. We're not here to pass the time of day. You better come up with some answers quick. Now, who are you with?
Friend of mine, guy named Sid Austin.
What's his phone number?
You going to call him?
We got to check your alibi.
Oh, what's his number?
Won't do any good to call him.
Thought you said you were there.
I was.
Then we got to call him.
Well, he won't be able to tell you anything. He wasn't there. He just let me use his place. There wasn't anybody there.
Who's got a key to this place besides you?
You mean here?
That's right.
Nobody.
You got the only key, huh?
That's right. The landlady's got one, just the two of them.
You got any idea how somebody else could get in here?
No. Why?
How well do you know Gloria Paul?
What's she got to do with it?
How well do you know her?
We used to go together.
Anything serious between you?
She thought we might get married.
How'd you feel about it?
I don't think that's any of your business.
Maybe it is. How'd you feel about it?
I liked her. She was a nice kid.
Nothing more?
No. Now, you look. I think it's about time you told me what this is all about. Something to do with Gloria. Is that it?
That's right.
What?
She's dead.
Oh. Oh. Can I please have a cigarette?
Yeah. Here. Here's a match.
Thanks. How'd it happen?
Thought maybe you could tell us.
Why'd you figure that?
Where'd you see her last?
Up here.
This room?
Yeah.
When was that?
I told you, Friday night.
You have any trouble with her?
No.
No argument?
I told you no. Well, how'd it happen? Can't you tell me?
You own a .22 rifle?
Yeah.
You got bullets for it?
Yeah, why?
Where do you keep it?
Closet over there.
You keep it loaded?
No, the bullets are on the shelf in the closet.
All right, come on, Ross. We better go downtown.
What for?
I want to talk to you.
What for? You got to tell me before I have to go. You got to tell me what you're holding me for.
Suspicion of murder. Now, come on.
Where are you taking him?
Downtown.
Why?
We want to talk to him.
You didn't have anything to do with it, did you, Ross?
I don't even know what this is all about. All I know is that Gloria's dead.
She killed herself in your room.
What?
In your room, Ross. It was suicide.
Well, they're arresting me for murder.
Oh, you can't do that. Ross didn't have anything to do with it. It was suicide. That's what you said.
All right, come on, Mitchell.
Well, you can't do that. It was suicide.
You want to take him out the car, Frank?
Yeah.
You can see that you're making a mistake. He didn't have anything to do with it. He's going to have enough trouble with that girl killing herself in his apartment. You can't arrest him for murder. It was suicide.
What are you trying to tell us, lady?
What?
Something you want to say here?
No, you're making things up.
All right, let's go.
Yes. Let's go ahead. Take him. Go ahead. He wants to be a star. Let him. Go ahead and take him and serve him right. The way he treats people. I tried to help him. God knows I tried. Got him to meet a lot of important people, a lot of contacts. You think he was interested? You bet he was. How does he show it? I'll tell you how. He thanks me for all I've done for him by running around, chasing after that young nobody, that Gloria. I tried to reason with her, tried to talk some sense into her. Told her that she couldn't do anything for him. Told her that I could make him a star, bigger than anybody. She said she loved him. She doesn't know how to love.
You want to go ahead?
Came over here all the time, begging Ross to marry her. I told her to get out of his life and stay out, to leave him alone. He didn't need her.
When was all this?
Sunday evening, she came here all dressed up. Oh, when they're young, they know everything. I'm one of the biggest stars this town ever had. She's a nobody. I know what's good for that boy.
Didn't you tell us you didn't see the girl Sunday, isn't that right?
That's what I said.
Did you see her Sunday?
Yes, I did. She wanted me to let her into Ross's apartment. I told her he wasn't there. She said it didn't make any difference. She'd wait for him.
Yeah?
I told her to leave him alone. She didn't understand him, didn't know how to take care of him. I know the right people. He could have written his own ticket in this town. He could have been big. You don't want him. I killed her.
All right. Do you want to get a coat for him?
Yes. Doesn't make any difference. I did it to help him. I thought you'd think it was suicide. I didn't think you'd figure anything else.
You wrote the note, did you?
I did. That's what you've got to understand. For him. That was all that counted. He'd married her and he'd been through. I had to stop it. I didn't want to kill her. You can see I couldn't let him marry her. Ross is a fine actor. Real talent. He doesn't come along often.
All right, lady. Let's go.
He'll understand, won't he? He'll know why I did it. He'll understand.
I wouldn't know, ma'am.
Well?
We'll let you ask him.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 14th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here's our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, Dragnet Radio is taking a summer vacation. We'll be back in the fall. George Fenneman will tell you all about that in a minute. Meanwhile, I hope you'll watch our TV show regularly, and I also hope that all of you who are not Chesterfield smokers will try them. I like to feel that when we resume broadcasting in the fall, every one of you will have switched to Chesterfield. You'll find their best for you. And, of course, when you go on that vacation this summer, be sure to take along a couple of cartons, will you? Chesterfield. And we all hope you have a very pleasant summer.
Thelma Alice Keene was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. She was sentenced to life imprisonment in the California Institute for Women, Corona, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson, Ben Alexander. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields, either regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
By special request, Dragnet is being sent to our servicemen and women all over the world. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Dragnet leaves radio for the rest of the summer. We'll be back early in September. Watch then for our return. Check the radio listings of your newspaper for the day and time. Please note, however, that if Dragnet is seen on television in your community, it will continue throughout the summer.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork, king size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. For the past 3 weeks, a lone thief has been victimizing stores and check-cashing agencies. You've got a description of the man, but so far you've failed to identify him. Your job? Get him. Before you buy your next pack of cigarettes, think this over. A doctor has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers with special attention to the nose, throat, and sinuses. His latest report, after a full year and a half, says no adverse effects from smoking Chesterfield. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield, regular or king size, they're low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, June 10th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We'd gotten a call that there'd been a holdup, and it was 10:36 a.m. when we got to the corner of Alvarado and Catalina Streets, the Harrison Check Cashing Agency.
I'm sorry, you'll have to come back. We've had some trouble and we're not open for business. Come back in about now.
Police officer, sir.
Oh, well, where have you been? I was held up, you know. Held right up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fellows in the police car was here. They told me that you'd come out. Well, where have you been? It's taken you long enough. Didn't you use the siren?
Yes, sir. We came out as soon as we got the call.
Just seems us taxpayers would get better service than that.
Well, sir, the call just came in 4 minutes ago.
Oh. Well, all right then. Well, now let me tell you all about it.
Yes, sir, if you would, please.
Oh, you just bet I would. Well, now, first off, I had trouble sleeping last night. I knew right off it was going to be a bad day. I can always tell, you know, when I've had a bad night, the next day's always a doozy.
Did you give the officers in the radio car a description of the man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I sure did. I gave it to them right off. Now, you going to let me tell you all about the holdup?
Yes, sir. If you go ahead, please.
Well, I had a bad night. Real bad. I knew... Say, my name's Harrison. Abel Harrison. I don't think that's your fellow's name.
Oh, this is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh,
how do you do?
Glad to know you, yeah. Darn fool next door kept pounding the typewriter all night. He never let up.
Sir?
The man next door, that's why I didn't get any sleep. Some crackpot trying to be a writer. Oh, it's an awful thing. All night long. Dit, 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 ding, dit, dit, ding. All night. Not a wink of sleep.
Yes, sir. If you just tell us about the robbery, please.
You ain't interested, huh?
Well, no, sir, it isn't that. It's just that the more time we lose here, the harder it's going to be to apprehend the suspect. You can understand that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now, maybe if you just answer some questions for us, it might be easier and possibly a little faster. Huh?
Okay. Fire away.
What time did the man come in?
About 10:12.
Was he alone?
Yep.
Did it look like there might have been anybody else with him?
Nope.
Do you know if he drove an automobile?
Couldn't tell.
I see. Well, would you tell us exactly what he said and what he did from the time that you first saw him?
Came in, 10:12, had a gun, walked over to me, pointed the gun, told me to stick up. That the way you fellows want it?
Well, you just relax, Harrison, will you, and tell the story in your own words.
I'm trying to do just that.
Yes, sir.
Maybe if I went slower, it'll be easier for you boys.
All right, sir, you go right ahead.
Well, he came in, stood around for a minute, then come over to the counter. I asked him if I could help him.
Uh-huh.
We cash checks, you know, payroll checks. First off, I thought that's what he wanted, to cash a check. Wasn't, though. I asked him what he wanted, and he pulled out the gun. Told me to keep quiet and hand him the money. Pointed the gun right at my heart, right here. My heart. Are you with me so far, boys?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
So I gave him the money. All there was in the drawer.
I see, sir. About how much was taken, Mr. Harrison?
About $1,500. He just took the paper money. He didn't want the silver. Had 2 paper bags. Looked like he carried his lunch in them. All kinds of wrinkles, you know.
Yes, sir.
Had me put the money in them. Then he told me to lay down on the floor. Lay there and count to 100 by ones. Told me not to move until I'd finished. He said if I did, he'd come back and kill me. The way he told me, you knew he meant it. After that, he left.
All right, sir. Wonder if you can give us a description of the man.
Sure, but already gave one to the other cops. Ain't that enough?
We'd like to have you tell us, if you would, Mr. Harrison.
Oh, them other fellows don't work with you, huh?
Well, yes, sir, they do. But we'd just like you to describe the man to us.
Well, what's the matter? Won't they tell you?
Well, yes, Mr. Harrison, they'll tell us, but the questions they ask you are for getting out a broadcast. We have to fill out a report and try to get the man who did this.
Oh. Seems like a pretty funny way to operate. Don't tell the other cops what's going on.
How tall was the man, Harrison?
Well, let's see. I'd say about 5 feet, maybe 8 to 10 inches.
Mm-hmm. How much did he weigh, would you know?
I'm just guessing, you Nosy. I'm not sure.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Well, I'd say he weighed maybe, 150, right around in there.
How old was he, would you know?
Maybe 25, 26.
How about his coloring? Was he dark or light complected?
No, dark. He had black hair, brown eyes, mean-looking eyes, like steel balls. Kind you pick up a vacuum cleaner. Steel, hard.
Yes, sir. How was he dressed?
Had a pair of Levi's on. Levi's in a blue shirt. He had a brown leather jacket on, too, one with a fur collar.
Was he clean shaven?
Oh, yes. His face looked like he just had a shave. And a talcum powder on it.
Do you wear glasses, sir?
Yeah?
What kind were they?
I couldn't tell you, just glasses.
Well, did they have metal or plastic frames?
Oh, plastic, yes. Light, kind of tan plastic. Heavy. The kind that don't have the little curly things around the ears. Just big pieces that went over the top.
Mm-hmm. Did the man touch anything with his hands?
No, he didn't. The other officers asked me that, too. He didn't touch a thing.
Was anybody else present at the time?
No one else. I was the only one here.
Well, did the man have any marks or scars that you noticed?
No, leastways not that I saw.
Was there anything unusual about him? Anything that might help us identify him?
Well, that mustache should help.
Sir?
His mustache. I think it was phonier than a $3 bill. Looked like it to me.
Well, I thought you said the man was clean-shaven.
I did. All around the mustache. I didn't think of that like that. He's probably clean-shaven under that, too. Sure looked phony to me.
Why do you say that?
It was red. He was dark. Had black hair, black eyebrows. Don't seem like he'd come up with a red mustache. Seem like it to you?
It's hard to say, sir.
Don't seem like it to me, not at all. I tell you something else.
What's that, sir?
I think them glasses was fake, too. Glasses was funny, like it hadn't been ground, kind of flat. I think they was phony, just like the duster.
Duster?
Mustache. Red mustache with black hair. Phony.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And we'd like you to come down to the office and look at some other pictures, if you would, see if you can identify the man.
Be glad to. I'll not do it today, though.
Why is that, sir?
Well, I already told you had a picture of him down there. I'd probably miss him. It's been a real bad day for me. Well, tomorrow will be better, though.
Why is that, sir?
Gonna get some sleep tonight.
That's so?
Bribed the landlady.
Yeah?
She let me in his room. I took it.
What's that, sir?
Ain't gonna do much typing without his ribbon, is he?
For the past 3 weeks, we'd heard the same story. A man had entered a check-cashing agency or a small neighborhood store and at gunpoint taken all the currency. Each time, he'd hit just after the owner or the manager had come back from the bank. The descriptions we'd gotten in each theft was the same. Each of the victims looked over the mug books, but they were unable to identify the suspect. The stats office had made an M.O. run going back 10 years. The leads they turned up were run down, but they led us nowhere. Communications to George Brereton up at CII in Sacramento had turned up no new information. We were right where we were after the first robbery. We had a suspect we couldn't identify, a suspect that we couldn't find. 10:45 a.m., the latest victim closed up his place of business and started to accompany us downtown. As we walked out of the store, a police car pulled up to the curb. In the back seat was a man of about 25 years of age. The officer told us that they'd caught the man running down an alley 3 blocks away. The man who matched the description of the thief identified himself as Rudy Martin. While the radio car officer stood by, we took the suspect over to our car to see April Harrison, the victim.
Caught him already, huh?
Is this the man who held you up, sir?
Let me get out and take a good look.
All right.
Tell him to turn sideways, north and south.
All right, sir.
No, I'll turn sideways. That's him.
Are you sure?
That's the man, even without his mustache and glasses, I can tell.
He's lying. He don't know what he's saying.
Don't you talk that way to me, young fella. And where's my money, huh? What'd you do with my money?
I never got it. I never took any money from you or anybody else. You're crazy.
I'll teach you to talk to me like
Harrison,
that.
Never mind. Now, if we need anything more, we'll be back to talk to you.
You mean you ain't going to take me downtown now that you caught the fella?
No, sir, we'll get in touch with you later.
You make him tell you where he hid the money. $1,500, all in paper. You make him tell you.
All right, sir, we'll do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I'll be right here. Anything you want me to do, just give a holler. I want to see this fella get what's coming to him.
Yes, sir. Here's our card, and you call us if you need to.
Yeah, you do that. And make him tell you what he done with the money.
You want to get back, Martin?
I'll check with the radio car, Joe. You want him to follow us to the office?
Yeah, tell him we'll take Martin here to the robbery division. We'll check him later.
Right.
All right, Martin, put your hands up as high as you can.
With handcuffs on?
With them on.
You ain't gonna find anything.
All right, get them up.
See, I told you. This is a bad thing that man did. I haven't done anything to him. I didn't take his money.
Settle back, Martin. Back in the seat. You ever seen that man before?
No, I haven't.
Is he mad at you for any reason?
I told you I never saw him before.
Well, he says he knows you. He says you held him up a little while ago.
He's crazy.
Why'd he say something like that without a reason?
I don't know.
Your wallet back here?
Yeah.
All right, slide up a little. Any money in it?
No, I got some change, maybe 40, 50 cents. Just a few cards there and a couple of phone numbers, that's all. There's no money.
Mm-hmm. Who's this? This Johnny Salvatore.
He's a friend of mine.
And Chris Turan.
Another friend. They haven't done nothing. They're both nice guys. And look, you got no right to do this. You got no right to arrest me.
I just want to talk to you. If you haven't done anything wrong, then you haven't got anything to worry about, have you?
That sounds good, but what am I doing sitting here in his car with you?
All right, now tell us the real story, huh?
I ain't nothing to tell. I was over by Central Avenue when these two cops came by and picked me up. I wasn't doing anything.
Officers say you were running down an alley. They say that you wouldn't stop when they told you to. Now, how about all that?
I was scared. You can see how that had happened, can't you?
What'd you do with the gun?
Wasn't any gun.
The victim says it was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You registered for the draft, Martin?
Yeah.
Well, where's your draft card?
Isn't it in the wallet?
No, it isn't.
Guess I must have lost it.
You ever been arrested? Did you hear me, Martin? How about it?
Yeah, a couple of times.
What for?
Bag.
Where?
Here, back east.
Where back east?
KC.
You sure that's all?
Yeah.
What were you doing in that alley this morning?
I was on my way to see a guy.
Who?
A friend of mine.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah?
I'll call in. We can get started.
Right.
1K80 to Control 1. 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
Prisoner in custody. Show us out to room 27A, City Hall. KMA 367.
Roger, 1K80. KMA 367.
You all set?
Yeah, let's go. Now, who's this friend you're going to see, Martin?
You have to know that?
We have to know.
Chris Tarrant.
What are we going to see him about?
Job. He said he could line one up for him.
Where do you live?
Room and house down on Wall.
All right, you want to tell us what you did with that money?
What money? I don't know how to tell you any better. I didn't have anything to do with that guy. I don't know nothing about any robbery. I was on my way to see a friend about a job. A couple of cops picked me up. That's all there is to it, nothing more. If you think you can make this thing stick, then you go right ahead. I don't think you can.
Well, we got a lot of time, Martin.
So have I. I got nothing to do. Night's sleep and a couple of meals. That's what I stand to come up with. I got no problems. Go ahead, lock me up. You're going to have to let me go. I don't care what the old guy says. I didn't hold him up. Not him nor anybody else can say I did.
The clothes you got on match the ones the hold-up man wore.
So what? A lot of people wear these kind of clothes.
Victim identified you.
The guy made a mistake. I told you that.
All right, Martin, you called it. I hope you know what you're talking about. The victim of the robbery identified you, and there's 5 more we think we can tie you into. We make you on the rest of them. You got real trouble here. Now, you'll save us and yourself a lot of time if you'll tell us the truth.
You wouldn't know it if you saw it.
Well, there's one way to find out, isn't it?
Yeah?
Try us. 10:52 a.m. We took the suspect back to the city hall and we talked to him for over 3 hours. He refused to admit any knowledge of the holdups. We checked him through R&I and we came up with the arrest record that he told us about. In checking his record, we found that the suspect was wanted for draft evasion. In the meantime, the other victims of the holdup man had been brought down to the office. The suspect was placed in a show-up with several other persons. They all failed to identify Martin as the thief. In checking further with the last victim, Harrison, he stated that he'd probably made a wrong identification. We had a search of Martin's room made, but we were unable to come up with anything. The 2 friends he'd mentioned were checked out, but there was no record on either one of them. The suspect was turned over to the federal authorities for prosecution on the draft evasion charge. We were right back where we started 3 weeks before. The next morning, Saturday, June 11th, we started all over again. This time we went back into the files 15 years. Anybody who even vaguely matched the description was checked out. The M.O. of the thief was rechecked. The machines came up with an additional 17 possibles. Each of these were checked out. It took us 2 weeks, and at the end of that time, we were back where we started again. We had nothing but a description that apparently didn't match anybody in our files, and an M.O. that didn't fit any known criminal. During the time that we'd been checking out leads, the bandit was inactive. Additional cars from Metro Division had been assigned to the detail, and rolling stakeouts were maintained around check-cashing agencies throughout the city. The hold-up man had apparently dropped from sight. Saturday, June 25th, I checked into the office.
Robbery, Smith. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Ben. Huh? Oh, just a minute. Little John. You see him, Joe?
No, I don't think he's here. Little John? No, he's not here.
No, Ben, he isn't here. All right, wait a minute. I'll check the book. Yeah, here. No, I left about an hour ago. Yeah, I'll be back. Want me to call you? Okay, wait a minute.
Here's a pencil.
Uh-huh. 0281? Right, yeah. Okay, Ben.
I got something here. Teletype from San Diego from Hewin and Davis.
Yeah? What is it?
I'll read it to you. RE, your APB, dated June 10th, RE robbery. Robbery occurred this city last night. MO and description matches your suspect. We have identification as Jerry Lane, San Diego number 146382. Are sending mug shots. Huh, looks like a break. Well, it might have been. You let me finish.
Yeah?
He got away. 12:15 p.m. A special delivery letter arrived from San Diego with the mug shots of Jerry Lane. There was also a note from Sergeant Carl Davis. He explained that the suspect had held up a small liquor store in the city and had badly beaten the owner. A witness was shown the mug books and was able to pick out the bandit. He was identified as a Jerry Lane. He had only one arrest record, and that was for a misdemeanor offense in San Diego County. We checked the name through our identification bureau, but there was no record on him in our files. The mug shots for San Diego had been taken over 4 years previously, but the victims of the robberies in Los Angeles had no trouble identifying it, even without the glasses and the mustache. Additional broadcasts were gotten out carrying the name, and radiograms were sent to Washington and to Sacramento requesting any available information. Another week passed while the search went on. During that time, the hold-up man hit once more, this time in National City, just south of San Diego. From the reports we got, the M.O. matched the one previously used. The suspect made good his escape. Tuesday morning, 11:30 a.m. Frank and I had been out running down a lead. We just got back to the office.
Well, there's another one that didn't go anyplace.
Yeah?
You know, Joe, if somebody could figure out a way to filter out the bad leads, it'd sure save a lot of legwork, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, all right. It's Hewan.
Yeah?
Hi, Pappy. Yeah. When was that? Yeah, anything on him? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're probably right. Well, I guess the only thing we can do is put out another broadcast. Yeah. No, nothing up here. What'd you say? Right, yeah. Well, if anything else turns up, let us know, will you? Right. Oh, wait a minute. Say hello to Carl. All right, Pappy. Yeah, we'll be talking to you. Right. Thanks. Bye.
What's he got?
Well, it's our suspect, Jerry Lane.
Yeah?
He's going to have to stand for more than a 211 charge now.
What do you mean?
Latest victim just died.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
It's so satisfying to know that my Chesterfield is low in nicotine, highest in quality.
Chesterfield, low in nicotine, highest in quality. A fact proved by chemical analyses of the country's 6 leading cigarette brands.
And it's so satisfying to know that a doctor who has been making thorough examinations, especially of the nose, throat, and sinuses, reports no adverse effects from smoking Chesterfields.
His report is a part of a program supervised by a responsible research laboratory and is based on thorough bi-monthly examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers over a period of a year and a half.
That's 18 full months now. Don't you want to smoke a cigarette with a record like this? Regular or king size.
Chesterfield is low in nicotine, highest in quality. Best for me, best for you.
From the information we got on the phone, it looked like Jerry Lane would be headed for Los Angeles. One of the witnesses to the latest robbery said that the suspect drove away in either a 1942 Plymouth or a Dodge Coupe. The color of the car was listed as either a dark blue or black. Descriptions of the car and of the suspect were printed up and distributed to all law enforcement agencies between Los Angeles and the Mexican border. Al Gayton from the San Diego department got in touch with the Mexican authorities, and a close check was kept on all cars crossing into Mexico. According to our information, Jerry Lane had robbed at least 8 places and stolen a little under $9,000 in a period of 6 weeks. While we continued our investigation, the San Diego authorities followed up the leads they had. In the course of checking out the friends and associates listed on Lane's arrest record, they came up with the information that he had at one time been employed as a musician in a downtown nightclub. They interviewed the employees of the place, but they were not able to get a definite lead on the suspect. With the mugshot that they'd sent us, and knowing that he was a professional musician, we checked with the local office of the Musicians Union. They told us that he was not in good standing, and they were unable to give us the address of the suspect, but they did give us the name and address of a bar where he'd worked several years before. At 8:30 p.m. that night, Frank and I talked to one of the waitresses in the place.
No, they cut out the band a year or so ago. Not enough business to keep it going.
Uh-huh. Did you work here when they did have a band?
Sure, I've been here since they remodeled the place. Been 4 years, anyway. Hey, you fellas like a drink? Be on the house.
No, thank you.
No, ma'am.
You know a man named Jerry Lane?
What does he do?
Well, he's a musician. We understand he plays clarinet.
Lane. Yeah, it seems to me I do remember him. Not too tall, kind of nice looking if you went for the type. Yeah, I remember him.
You know where we can get in touch with him?
No, I haven't got the slightest idea. Had to be a pretty big lush. Had to let him go. Union told him lay off the booze, but he didn't pay no attention. Always showing up late. A real lush.
Possible the owner might know where he is?
It isn't likely. I'm married to the owner. I know most of the stuff that goes on around here.
I see. Can you give us any idea where we might be able to get a lead on him? Some of his friends? Maybe another musician?
No. Hey, wait a minute.
Ma'am?
I might know someone. Let me make a phone call.
Well, if you give us the phone number, we can put in the call.
No, I'd rather not do that. You see, this girl used to see a lot of Jerry. Maybe she don't want to get mixed up in a thing like this. I'll call her and find out. If she knows, she'll tell me. If she doesn't, there's no harm done.
Okay.
Got a dime?
Here's 2 nickels.
Thanks.
I'd rather you leave the door open, if you will.
All right. Hello, may I speak to Betty Hodgin, please? Yes. All right. They're calling her.
Good.
Nice girl. Never figured out what she saw in Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Betty? Betty, this is Naomi. Just fine. You? Oh, yeah, he's fine. Say, Betty, I hate to bother you, but do you know where I can get in touch with Jerry Lane? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, wait a minute. Did you get a pencil?
Yeah. Here you go.
Now, what's the address, Betty? Uh-huh. Yeah, I got it. No, it wasn't serious, no. No, business isn't that good. Yeah, we still got the piano. Sure, we're going to keep it. Right. Well, thanks, Betty. You guys are in luck.
Yes, ma'am?
Here's the address. The club down on 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Betty says he's there almost every night.
9:42 p.m. We called the office and had another team of men sent out. We notified homicide detail that we'd picked up another lead, and they sent out a team of men to give us any help that we might need in apprehending the suspect. The address we'd been given was the Georgetown Club, a small place on West 6th Street. When we got there, the place was crowded, and the band was in the middle of the second set. We checked with one of the bartenders.
Sure. That's Jerry playing clarinet. See? Gray suit.
Yeah, does he work here?
No, he shows up almost every night, sits in with the band. Union doesn't like it. They talked to the boss about it. He's trying to get the bum out of here. Caused a lot of trouble.
That right?
Sure. Always he comes in drunk, or else he acts like he's high on dope. You want me to get him for you?
Yeah, tell him there are a couple of friends who'd like to talk to him, will you?
I'll do it right now. You don't want me to say you're cops?
No, we don't.
I didn't think so. Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
Some place they got here, huh?
Yeah, sure is crowded, isn't it?
Right. Better watch him. He's probably armed.
Yeah, let's get him outside. It'd be easier to take there. Too many people here.
Yeah, the bartender's got him now.
Well, let's let him get outside before we move away.
Right.
There he goes. Come on.
Sure, well, where are they? You said a couple of friends. Where are they? You said they would be here. Now, wait a minute. Here they are. Oh. I know you. Where did I know you fellas from?
You Jerry Lane?
Yeah. What do you want to see me about? I got to get back in there. If you fellas don't need me no more, I'll get back to work, huh?
No.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Go ahead.
No problem. I know what's this all about. I don't know you guys.
Police officers, you're under arrest.
What for?
Frank? Yeah. Stand still.
What are you trying to do? You got nothing on me.
Stand still.
You stay away from me, cop. Now leave me alone.
All right, hold up, mister.
All right, now come on your feet. Get up.
Now stand still. He's clean, Joe. Now put your hands behind you.
I didn't do anything. You got no reason to shove me around. Cut my mouth. It's bleeding.
Yeah, well, that makes 2 of us, mister.
What are you after me for? What have I done? I have too much to drink? Is that it? I wasn't bothering anybody in there.
It's a nice try, Lane, but it won't work. We got a half a dozen positive identifications on you for robbery.
I didn't hurt anybody.
You killed a man.
Yeah. The last one. I heard he died. Is it true? Did he die?
That's right.
I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
I wasn't responsible. I just didn't feel so good. It wasn't my fault. He wouldn't give me the money. I didn't know what I was doing. That's going to make a difference, isn't it? I didn't know what I was doing.
I wouldn't know about that, Lane. That's going to be up to the jury, but you can bet on one thing.
What's that?
They'll know what they're doing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On December 17th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, the big Labor Day weekend is coming up, so make sure you have plenty of Chesterfields. Get a couple of cartons when you do your weekend shopping. Now, I can tell you why you should be smoking Chesterfields in just 10 words. Chesterfield, low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you.
Gerald Carlisle Lane was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Lillian Baeff, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspaper for the day and time.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering. And Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.